It's confirmed that Alyssa slit Elizabeth's throat and then stabbed her. Alyssa only recalls stabbing her twice, but the autopsy later revealed that Elizabeth was stabbed 8 times.
8
When she was
times?
finished.
Bro, you know how fucked up in the head you have to be to do some shit like that? And, not to mention, this is premeditated, by the way. So she planned to do this. She planned on doing this 5 days before she killed her. She planned this. That is psychotic as fuck.
Blackcrosses, 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 crosses, Blackcrosses, the team nauseous, the team nauseous.
Grandma.
Oh my god.
This is a little too loud.
I'm not going to ask any questions right now until we get.
What would make a grandmother emotionally break down like that? For Karen Brooke, it was the murder her 15-year-old granddaughter, Alyssa Bustamante, just confessed to. If you had to describe Alyssa Bustamante's childhood with a single word.
What the fuck? Why she like a female Shane Dawson? What the fuck? You know what? If someone told me that this bitch was gonna be a fucking, a teen killer, I honestly wouldn't deny it. I would not deny it, to be honest
Would
with you.
undoubtedly be tragic.
Look at her.
According to case documents, Alyssa confided in a mental health professional that she had been subjected to severe mistreatment at a
Good
young
Thunder, how you
age.
doing, bro?
The resulting trauma led to Alyssa being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, and the doctor stated she developed an abhorrence for violence. She'd been the result of teenage pregnancy, as her mother, Michelle, was only 15 years old when she was born. Though her grandparents were excited to have grandchildren, Alyssa's parents, Michelle and Cesar, weren't prepared for parenthood. It wasn't long before Alyssa was joined by 3 younger siblings, twin brothers, and a sister named Emma. The children grew up in a turbulent household. Cesar Bustamante was eventually charged with 3 counts of assault and was sentenced to serve 3 concurrent prison terms.
Damn.
There was no stability for Alyssa, her brothers, and sister, and they were often evicted, forcing them to constantly pack up and move. Michelle's parents, Karen and Gary Brooke, stepped in to help take care of the children. However, they soon found that many of their efforts, such as sending food to the family and visiting, were all in vain. Eventually, they realized that there was only one thing they could do that would truly make a difference in the children's lives. The grandparents decided to campaign for full custody of Alyssa and her siblings. When they gained full custody of the children, Alyssa was about 8 years old. Living with her grandparents offered her stability for the first time in her life, but Alyssa had already been exposed to far too much. Seeking a new start, Alyssa's grandparents moved the family to the small town of St. Martin's, Missouri, where they bought a nice home on a large piece of land. Right away, the twin boys and Emma flourished in their new location, but Alyssa seemed to have difficulty adjusting. It was in this small town of just over 1,000 people, where everyone knows everyone, that Alyssa's gruesome crime would devastate all who lived there. It was Wednesday, October 21st, 2009, when Alyssa's younger sister, Emma Bustamante, now 6 years old, knocked on the Oltons' front door. She wanted 9-year-old Elizabeth Olton to come out and play. The Bustamantes and Oltons only lived 4 houses down from each other, and the 2 young girls would often play at each other's houses. But on this particular day, Elizabeth would never make it home. Elizabeth Olton was a typical girly girl. Before Emma showed up at Elizabeth's house, she'd been excitedly practicing her lines at the dining room table for an upcoming musical, Noteworthy. Elizabeth's mother, Patty, said she couldn't go play at first. Dinner would be ready soon, but the girls begged her enough for her to finally give in. Patty gave her daughter clear instructions to be home by 6 p.m., when the sun would nearly be set in late October, and Patty trusted that Elizabeth would come home, since the 4th grader was terrified of the dark.
It's probably gonna go up in a second.
Emma and Elizabeth played board games and hopscotch in the Bustamante driveway. Eventually, Elizabeth told Emma that she needed to go home. Emma stood on the big rock by her driveway and watched her friend begin her walk home. However, she didn't stay to see if Elizabeth made it all the way home safely. Emma was later asked by investigators if Elizabeth might have walked through the woods to get home, but she was adamant that they never went in the woods. Emma continued playing outside, though she didn't know for how long. At some point, she lost a hair tie in the thorns by her driveway, and when she tried to retrieve it, she scratched her hand and her foot got stuck. Emma said she yelled until Alyssa came to help her, claiming Alyssa had been in the house and heard her through an open window. As Alyssa helped her out of the thorns, Emma noticed a spot of blood on the thigh of Alyssa's pants. She asked her sister about it, who explained it away by saying she had her period. Alyssa made her little sister promise not to tell anyone about the blood.
Oh, God.
When 6 p.m. passed, Elizabeth hadn't returned home. Worried, Patty called Elizabeth's cell phone over and over, but there was no answer.
There we
Patty
go.
then called Emma's
Thank you,
grandmother,
Bravo.
Karen, to ask if Elizabeth was still
Chat,
at
we
their
are one more away
house.
from 25.
Karen told her that
One more
Elizabeth
away.
had never even been to the home
Who
and
trying to
wasn't
be that
even
one?
aware that the girls had been playing. She hung up and immediately called the police. Authorities began their investigation by interviewing the last known person Elizabeth was with, Emma Bustamante. Emma described playing with Elizabeth from approximately 5 to 6 p.m. before Elizabeth left for home. Grandma Karen sat in the room during this questioning, Emma continually glancing at her as she answered the investigators' questions. There was one detail Emma gave that struck investigators as odd: the bloodstain she spotted on Alyssa's pants. Karen seemed removed from the interview, but toward the end she stated, "We just want the truth to come out, whatever it is." By 10 p.m., word of the missing 9-year-old spread through this small town, and hundreds of residents came out in support of the Olton family to search for little Elizabeth. When they had searched the whole neighborhood, as well as the woods, and turned up nothing, law enforcement decided to ping Elizabeth's cell phone and found that it led back to the 60 acres of woods behind her home. Volunteers then made a strange discovery: a hole in the woods in the shape of a grave. As the forensics team began to process the scene, the FBI began interviewing Alyssa. For reasons that are still unknown, they brought her to the hole where Alyssa admitted something odd. She dug the hole. When questioned why exactly she dug it, she said she just likes digging holes and would...
Bro. Bro. Oh my God, bro. I'm not gonna be pausing that often, but come on now. Come on now. What kind of excuse is that? I just like digging holes. Yeah, so yeah, the police is just gonna walk past that. Okay, yeah, she's like digging holes, right? Okay, yeah, okay, makes sense. Everybody likes to dig holes every now and then, right? Are you stupid? Are you stupid? You know what?
Bury dead animals when she found them. Strangely, the hole ended up being empty, but investigators knew something was very off with Alyssa. They then conducted a search of her room and discovered a shocking key piece of evidence, one that they would wait to confront Alyssa with until her videotaped interrogation. This led to the most dramatic meltdown in any interrogation we've analyzed yet.
Oh, damn it, I don't get a skinny chair.
Huh?
I don't get rocks.
Yeah, rocks. So if you don't mind, if I sit here so I can write, because I'm going to be taking a lot of notes. So.
Okay.
It's important to note that when a person is brought in for interrogation, law enforcement have likely developed a reasonable suspicion that the person is involved in the crime. Karen accompanied Alyssa in the interrogation room. Going in, she fully believed Alyssa was innocent. She was in for the shock of her life as the truth began to unfold right before her eyes.
Walk me through exactly what happened.
We didn't go to seminary that day, right? Okay, so I woke up,
So like she's dead, but what the fuck is this picture?
I got ready, and I went out to go get the bus, but I missed the bus, because it doesn't usually pick me up.
Okay.
So I went back to the house, and my grandpa gave me a ride to school. So I went to school.
Okay.
And I was there all day.
I'ma throw this money like a free throw.
Bravo! Thank you for the $5, Mr. Bravo. Appreciate you, my guy. Cause fuck it, love you, Chad. Love you and Chad. Y'all family another year in the boys. Hey, bro. Happy New Year to you, Bravo. If I not see you next year. If I don't see you next year. Happy New Year, bro. Appreciate the $5, man.
No, 4. 3:30. 3:30. 4. I get home around then. And I just hung out in my room for a little while. And then I went for a walk around
Wait,
5.
I gotta skip a little bit.
before her eyes. It's important to note that when a person is brought in for interrogation, law enforcement have likely developed a reasonable suspicion that the person is involved in the crime. Karen accompanied Alyssa in the interrogation room. Going in, she fully believed Alyssa was innocent. She was in for the shock of her life as the truth began to unfold right before her eyes.
Walk me through exactly what happened.
We didn't go to seminary that day, right? Okay, so I woke up and I got ready and I went out to go get the bus, but I missed the bus.
I'm gonna try to work out a lot more frequently.
So I went back to the house and my grandpa gave me a ride to school.
I've been slacking for real.
School,
Okay.
and I was there all day. And then I came home on the bus and I got home around 3. No, 4. 3:30. 3:30, 4. I get home around then. And I just hung out in my room for a little while. And then I went for a walk around 5, 4:35, something like that.
She is feigning ignorance, commonly referred to as playing dumb.
I was just walking around in the forest for a while. And I was
And like she didn't know what exact time she was walking around and shit.
Because she's annoying.
Okay.
And I was just a sister with me, but I ditched her because she's annoying.
Okay.
And I was just walking around in the forest, and then for about an hour, I came back around 5.
Oh yeah, bar on the wall.
6-ish.
Probably they handcuffed them.
I went up in my room, and then I heard like yelling. So I went outside, and she was down in the ditch area. She was stuck in thorn bushes. So I went down there, and I helped her out. And she asked me why I was waiting, because, I thought I was on my period. I'm like, yeah, don't tell anyone that. And so we went out there, and my brother and Anthony were asking about it because she was supposed to be at home or something.
Okay.
And I didn't really think much of it, so we just went back to the house.
Alyssa nonchalantly shrugs her right shoulder. Shrugging only one shoulder is considered a modified shrug, or a variant of a natural shoulder shrug. Abnormal movements like this often suggest uncertainty in what the person is conveying. She leans to her left, an additional nonverbal display of discomfort. The interrogator is in the position of power, blocking the only exit. Although she initially appeared comfortable, Bustamante is now attempting to regain her power in a position of powerlessness.
And then started to get ready to go to church, because we have Wednesday night activities.
Okay.
And came, and he was patting on the door, and he was like, do you know where my is? Because he couldn't find her.
She begins to nod her head as she speaks. This does not align with her baseline pattern of nonverbal behavior. Something is off. Although we can only speculate, this may serve as a self-pacifying behavior. Bustamante is assuring herself that what she says is believable. Alternatively, Bustamante's head movements could be a conscious or subconscious manipulative nonverbal meant to spur agreement and empathy in the interrogator.
And that's when things started to get, people were like, oh, what's going on? Like, where is she?
Continue to observe all the nonverbal indicators of discomfort that we mentioned previously, but take note of contrasts.
We ended up going to church.
I feel like being a vet.
I don't know, a lot of stuff happened.
I feel like if you're working as an investigator and shit, like FBI investigator, you probably have to study psychology, 2 or some shit like that, in college or whatever. Because honestly, that would definitely make sense. I mean, you learn about the human's mind, the human mind and shit, and you know about what humans do when they lie and shit. So, makes sense.
While we were there, because it's from 7 to 8:15 ish. And when we came back, there was 3 sheriff cars in our property, and there was people out searching everywhere. And that's pretty much it. I went to sleep after that.
Okay.
Bustamante says,
nose piercing.
She does not use this consistently throughout the interrogation.
Too much.
It is not one of her baseline tendencies. Because she does not regularly say this moment is worth noting. It's also interesting to note that Alyssa uses what is known as an exclusion qualifier when she states, that's pretty much it. According to the retired CIA interrogator, Philip Houston, An exclusion qualifier is defined as being a tactic that enables people who want to withhold certain information to answer your question truthfully without releasing that information.
Basically.
Examples of exclusion qualifiers include statements such as not
Basically.
really, fundamentally, for the most part,
For the most
probably,
part.
and so on.
That's pretty much it.
I lie you. I use
That's
those
pretty
words
much it.
all
She's
the time.
technically
Those
being
phrases all the
truthful,
time.
but only by leaving out key details and withholding information, specifically the murder
I
of
see that shit
Elizabeth
all the
Holton.
time.
When the CIA is interrogating an individual, they conduct both body language and statement analysis. They look for clusters of 3 or more indicators that occur in either quick succession or all at once. This exact moment is the perfect example of what a CIA officer
Well, that's
looks
not gonna
for
work.
during an interrogation
So
to
it's
determine
like
if someone
lit,
is
yeah.
being deceitful.
That's pretty
Yeah,
much
G
it.
got tiny jokers time everything all the time in the fool.
When Alyssa states that's pretty much it, there are 4 indicators that occur within just
yeah,
a few
literally
seconds.
no bike.
The aforementioned
You got like
a half
a whole,
shrug of the shoulder,
like,
shaking
yeah,
of the head,
composure.
and
It's like the
then
composure.
nodding the head. Note how she shakes her head no as she states that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
This is known as incongruent body language, though of course you always want to look for clusters. This particular moment is significant as it's paired with other indicators, including statement analysis. Alyssa employs the exclusion qualifier multiple times throughout the interrogation. See if you can spot the other moments where she employs this tactic, and
Pete.
post the timestamps in the comments.
Let me see. I can Pete. Let's Pete. Let's Pete. Right.
Alyssa gives Officer David Rice the outline of her
Let's Pete all the
movements on
time. She
Wednesday
does
the
the
21st.
exclusion
But 2
clarifier.
things become clear
Exclusion
during
qualifiers.
this retelling of events. Alyssa had come into contact with Elizabeth Holton on the day she went missing, and Alyssa unwittingly places herself in the woods where Elizabeth's cell phone last pinged and where eventually they'll find Elizabeth. This confirms opportunity and the place for the crime to take place, but Alyssa's demeanor comes across as calm and confident.
Now, you have a boyfriend.
I do.
Okay, what's his name?
His name's
Dustin. Okay. Do you know, has anybody talked to him about any of this? Or
I'm pretty sure he's been interviewed.
okay.
Alyssa's boyfriend had been interviewed by law enforcement, and when the interview opens, we see him biting his nails and looking nervous. According to the case files, there had been an eyewitness who claimed to see a teen allegedly resembling him near the location of Elizabeth's
That's her
disappearance.
boyfriend.
This interview took place after Alyssa's own interrogation, though he was also interviewed previously as well. And as the interview begins, he had just taken a polygraph test and was about to be confronted with the results.
You're not being truthful with me about everything that's going on here. You know, and we need to get the truth. That's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we know a lot more stuff than we're leading on to believe. We've talked to several people.
The interrogator sits closely to Bustamante's boyfriend, Dustin, and speaks with authority. He states that they know Dustin has more information. This is a direct confrontation approach to interrogation.
We've talked to several of your friends. We've talked to several of his friends. And they've told us some stuff. They've told us some phone conversations they've had and everything. So what do you know?
I don't know anything.
What do you know?
Nothing. All that I know is what the FBI told me.
Why is the polygraph telling me different? Why is your body telling me different?
GG.
Why is your heart telling me different?
I'm
GG.
nervous.
Nervous has nothing to do with it. We've talked about that.
The interrogator is looking for a reason why Dustin is nervous. The polygraph test is all about psychophysiological detection of deception, PDD, or the use of physiological measures to detect lying. It measures certain autonomic physiological markers, such as heart rate, perspiration, and blood pressure. Examiners measure these markers at suspects' baselines before they're interrogated. Then they measure how these markers change from question to question. These markers are associated with anxiety, which is often present when one lies. The interrogator knows that Dustin is
Lucky. Oh, you know that. I'm gonna go get some. Some Chicago Bull. All right, you catch my drift.
However, the polygraph cannot show exactly why he is nervous, when he is nervous. An adrenaline spike to a question could indicate lying or some other form of emotional arousal, not directly related to the topic of the question. The interviewer isn't outright saying if he failed the lie detector test. Later case documents revealed the polygraph's results. Alyssa's boyfriend was asked 3 questions during this polygraph, all concerning Elizabeth.
Polygraph
Did you physically cause her death? Did you physically take her life? Did you do anything physical that ended her life? He answered no to all 3. Yet, according to the case files, it was determined that he was being deceptive in some way with his answers to all 3 questions.
Deceptive.
Nervousness has nothing to do with it.
Whoa.
Nothing at all. Your heart rebels against the
I lie
lie.
to you.
You only tell a lie.
Dustin had a little bull cut.
You can try to control your breathing.
I don't know.
You can think of other things all you want.
It's looking kind of
that right there.
Timothy-ish to me.
You don't tell the truth.
The heart is the first autonomic physiological baseline measurement collected. Some studies suggest that both heart rate and respiration rate show no significant increase or decrease, depending on whether the subject told the truth. But research has produced mixed results. Regardless of these inconsistencies, what is most telling is how suspects respond when under the impression that they were caught in a lie. Let us see how Dustin reacts when the interrogator implements this technique, a technique we will explain in just a moment.
What if I told you that we did a neighborhood canvas out there and talked to all the neighbors who live out there, even the neighbors who live in the subdivision behind where I live, and then there lives in the subdivision behind where I also lives. Talked to all those neighbors. We did a spot check out there with cars, and all the cars that came off and came through there, we stopped and talked to them. What if I told you somebody saw a kid about your size in a black hoodie with a black t-shirt and blue jeans on, standing there on the side of the road next to the guardrail?
That's tough.
From that point on, we see the interview begin to use what is called the Reed technique.
That's tough.
The Reed technique is an interrogation type used in the accusatory process. An interviewer tells the suspect that the results of the investigation clearly indicate they committed the crime in question. It's a 3-phase process, beginning with fact analysis, then a behavioral analysis interview. This phase is designed to be non-accusatory to develop investigative and behavioral information. The 3rd phase follows, when appropriate, the 9 steps of interrogation.
Y'all heard Bravo.
And we did a photo lineup.
Exclamation point, Marvel in the chat. And y'all support the stream. Literally just download the game, it's free. Get the
During the initial neighborhood police canvass, the eyewitness said that they had seen a strange boy in a dark t-shirt and baggy pants standing alone at a guardrail near where Elizabeth went missing. The eyewitness had been shown a copy of Alyssa's boyfriend's driver's license photo, and they claimed that the picture resembled the person they had seen. We know that eyewitness testimony is notoriously inaccurate. Though admissible in court, witnesses rely on autobiographical memory, specifically episodic memory, which is a type of recall involving events with contextual details, such as where and when something occurred. This type of memory is sensitive to memory bias. A witness might recall a suspect wearing a blue shirt a day after the occurrence, but state that the shirt was red a week later.
So why is that?
Wait, what?
State that the shirt recall a suspect wearing a blue shirt a day after the occurrence, but state that the shirt was red a week later.
So why is that?
Oh, okay, I see.
I wasn't there.
Alyssa's boyfriend comes across pretty confident, borderline defiant, when he looks the interviewer directly in the eyes. It's interesting to see him be combative with the interviewer at the mention of law enforcement having already done a photo lineup. Contrary to popular belief, anger is a more common reaction in individuals accused of something that is not true. If law enforcement had completed a photo lineup and it led to a positive identification, he would have...
Why shit? If some fat accused me of killing somebody that I ain't killed, bro, I would have been like... My nigga, I would have been fucking livid. Like, the fuck are you talking about? I ain't killed nobody. Who the fuck is you? You ain't right in the interrogation rooms. Motherfuckers breathing, they lie. And they just lying because they breathe too fast. Honestly, bro, the best you could do, if you're not being detained, literally, you don't have to say a single word, bro. If you're not being detained, you don't have to say a single word, bro. Until you got a lawyer or some shit. So basically, you can just walk out if you're not being detained.
Already been arrested and charged. The constant accusation becomes exhausting, and suspects just want the process to end. They assume that admitting something will end the interrogation, and most suspects think that invoking the rights of silence and counsel will label them as guilty. Alyssa's boyfriend is strong-willed throughout the entire interrogation and didn't take any of the bait the interviewer dangled in front of him. After he is questioned by the interrogator in the video, he's then questioned by Sergeant Rice. It was then that he confirmed the investigator's suspicions all along. He had been hiding something.
Exactly. What did she tell you?
She told us that she killed her.
Nah.
Told you that she killed her.
Nah, that's crazy.
She told you that she strangled her. And what else?
Cut her. She didn't get into detail with that. She just said strangled her and cut her.
Cut her? What the fuck?
October 22nd, Alyssa had gone to his house and told him about the crime she'd committed just the day before. He denied having ever been involved in the crime and said he wasn't present when it happened. So why had he lied?
My nigga. Chat. Let me ask y'all a question real quick. Let's say y'all dating a bit, right? Y'all dating a girl. And one day she pulls up to your house and she's like, yo, I murdered this kid or whatever. My nigga, what are you doing, bro? Is you snitching? Is you snitching for real? I'm snitching. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's tough. You holding it down? You tripping. I'm selling it out. I don't give a fuck. I'm saying I'm snitching the whole day. What the fuck? That's why the fuck you here. I'm selling her out. I don't give a fuck. You think I'm gonna be part? You think I'm gonna date a crazy bitch who kills children? You chilling? You crazy? I'm out of this bitch. Thing is, look, I ain't gonna really tell her that though, obviously, because she gonna kill me next. But look, all I'm saying is, look, the first chance I get, the first space I get, just know I'm gonna skip town. I'm gonna call the feds and be like, hey, I need you to go to this address. I need to report a murder. You're all good, bro. You're all good. Snitching and I'm dipping out. Simple as that. You go find me.
Once she ever found out,
You man. I don't give a fuck.
Information that got her locked up.
I don't care.
When she, like, I have a family, and she finds out where I live because she's obsessed about it and kills everybody.
Greg, did you say ooh?
What if she gets out on bail and she finds out a way how to take off her ankle bracelet, and she comes and kills me in my sleep and my mom, and then finds out where my sister lives and kills her?
That's crazy, bro.
Scared of what?
Her and
That's crazy,
I'm
bro.
gonna have any more girlfriends.
Yeah, testify? Oh no, I mean, yeah, I gotta testify. I'm gonna testify, but look, regardless, I'm gonna be safe. I gotta testify. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be safe. I'm just going on vacation for a couple of days until she gets arrested, and then I'm gonna come back and then testify. Simple as that. Cause I'm a civilian, in my right mind, I don't condone the death of a child, especially murder. Exactly.
You poor guy.
Exactly.
Well, I guess they're not all crazy. I guess that's understandable.
Dustin was never implicated in the murder of Elizabeth Olden. Back in Alyssa's interrogation, Sergeant David Rice
That
pulls
was
a
that.
map
Not
of the
say
surrounding
anything,
woods
and they find
neighborhood.
out you didn't say anything.
There's like a tree line.
You could be considered an accomplice, I
Do
believe.
you want to like draw this for you? I have a map.
So that is crazy.
Now, the thing about this map, I don't think it has where your actually house is. So the way I understand the new house would be right about here. Is that right? Okay, let's say the new house is ballpark here.
And then there's a trail that goes out here, and then it's like right.
Draw it for me if you will,
Okay.
please.
I'm not exactly sure how far back it goes. It's like past all the clearings, and then when it starts to get to like a smaller trail and whatnot, there's a little side thing. It's like a side trail I go off on.
It's something we always do is we'll walk a person through their day and we make a timeline just so we go through everything. So what time did you go for your walk?
The interrogator is using the TED technique, or the Tell, Explain, Describe technique. He is making it clear to Bustamante that he wants her to recount the day of events as a narrative. By recounting the day of events as a narrative, Bustamante is more likely to reveal other telling personal or contextual details.
I went for a walk around 4:30 or 5.
Okay. So how long, when you got home about 3:30, how long were you at home messing around before you went on your walk, do you think?
I was home at least an hour.
Okay, so about 4:30 or 5 you went.
Right.
So it's
Well,
emo.
there's a.
Yeah, she's
I believe
like one of those
there's a
raw
line
XT
in
girls,
the
bro.
trail or something. But like,
Did you go out all this way over
Like
here?
that.
And then where'd you go from here?
I just kept following the.
Where does
path.
it go from here? Show me.
Is that Jeffrey?
The
What's good,
interrogator
Jeffrey?
speaks
Let's
more
see.
rapidly and presses Bustamante for an answer. During this portion of the interrogation, Bustamante has displayed many disruptions in speech, frequently saying and like, and altering her vocal intonation.
It goes like, it does some turns and whatnot, but it's a pretty easy path to follow. It's like a road path.
Well, I mean,
It's
show
like
me
a road
what,
path.
does it loop back around now?
No, it doesn't loop. It like goes this way, I think.
Okay, and then what'd you do?
And then there was a pasture. I just hung out at the creek.
And then what'd you do?
I came back.
Then you walk back?
Yes.
And then what'd you do?
I went home.
She draws out the
Is it a
I
year already?
and ends by saying home with an upward inflection.
I went home.
This is what linguists would say. 1. Upward inflections are used when asking questions. Bustamante lacks confidence. 2. Drawing out words conveys a double meaning, but the statement is not implicative, or not meant to convey a double meaning. Put together, her underlying communication is, I am not confident in what I am saying, and what I am saying is in conflict with what I am thinking. As we move forward, listen for these subtle cues. Sometimes it is not just one word, but a combination of words that tell the true story.
How long did that take you to do?
It takes about.
How long were you on your walk?
Jeffrey.
Walk? It's about
You already, it's crazy.
15 or 20 minutes, I believe. Right, Grandma? It's the first cow pasture we went to when we took Princess with us.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
How long were you gone that day on your walk?
I was gone for about an hour.
Okay, so you were gone about an hour. When you walked up there, the cow pasture, what were you doing up there?
I was just, enjoying nature, taking a walk.
Alyssa happily draws the path she took on her walk for Sergeant Rice, which confirms her knowledge of the surrounding woods. She recounts her day again. Suspects are typically asked to repeat their story several times so that law enforcement can look for inconsistencies or for information that only the perpetrator of a crime would know.
We went to church and just did the activities till 8, came back, and everything was crazy.
So you got back at 8, and then, what did they tell you? What?
Well, they were like, yeah, there's 3 sheriffs here. People were out searching for her. They can't find her.
They just
And
said she was
they
missing?
they were like questioning me about the day. They didn't actually question me that day though, because I went up to take a shower, and then they just left or something. And I went to bed.
So they just told you it was missing?
My grandpa did, yes.
Yeah. How did that make you feel?
I didn't think it would happen.
The interrogator asks how it made Bustamante feel, and she responds cognitively, explaining what she thought instead of how she felt. It is easier to describe thoughts than emotions for individuals who struggle to identify emotions. It could be reasonably assumed that Bustamante is emotionally stunted in certain but not all ways.
Like, things like this don't happen to you,
In other words,
Even though she says that she
she's a
didn't think
sociopath.
something like this, a little girl going missing, could happen in St. Martin's, Missouri, she doesn't seem too concerned or shocked or surprised. The investigator then asks what Alyssa knows about Elizabeth.
Tell me about
Well...
Oh, yes, Daddy!
She's 9.
Okay.
I don't really know that much about her either.
tell me what you do know about her.
Okay. She'd come over and swim. She's kind of girly. Like,
Okay.
not like naturistic, I guess I'd say. she can be annoying.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's been there were some folks out there out in the
So why
forest,
did
I
you
guess,
kill
digging
her?
some
Because she was
holes, looking at some holes.
annoying, or like what? Huh.
Yeah, and I guess they had
That's
said
what I'm
that
gonna figure
you like
out.
to go out there and dig holes. So I'm gonna have to ask you some stuff about yourself.
Okay.
What's up?
Because obviously that plays in there. If they were looking holes and you're out there in the forest and that sort of thing. So I guess just tell me a little bit about yourself so I understand where all this is coming from.
I really like nature, animals, being outside. It's just naturistic like that.
Yeah, and digging
And
holes
I
too,
get
right?
bored
Like dig
really
holes,
easily.
just
And I'm entertained
because.
really easily.
Okay.
So something to do.
Alyssa keeps this explanation casual and surface level. It sounds
Why?
like digging holes is genuinely a hobby for her. Which
Refund
doesn't
you?
seem
I
too
can't
odd,
refund
given
some
the fact
alerts.
she's a teenage girl in a small town with probably
Whatever you
not a lot
lost,
to
you
do.
lost, man. You
But
deserve
at the
that.
same time, it's still interesting to note. She mentions that her brothers and her dig holes all the time, sometimes near their home, sometimes out in the woods.
Okay. You just like to dig holes?
And I like to climb trees.
Let the climb trees.
Oh, and I bury dead animals that I find because I believe it's respectful to them.
Okay.
Okay, no. That's what I don't get. She buries dead animals that she finds. How often do you find a dead animal in the wild though? That's what I want to know. I feel like she's on that type of serial killer type of shit. She should be killing animals for fun and burying them. I feel like she's into that shit. She freaky.
It almost seems like Alyssa is beginning to understand where the direction of questioning is starting to head. Yet her behavior remains calm. David Rice, as the main interviewer, is playing everything very casual. He makes it seem like he's on her side and doesn't believe she has anything to do with Elizabeth Olton going missing.
What kind of holes do you dig?
Hide Halo.
Tell me about these holes you dig.
Well,
You dig them a certain way every time, or just dig a hole?
Just dig a hole, pretty much.
Hashtag.
Okay. Just wherever they're at? I mean, do you dig at a certain spot or what?
No.
Whether digging holes is a hobby of Alyssa's or not, she makes it seem like the most normal thing in the world for a 15-year-old to do in the woods.
I'm such a not dirt kind of girl. That's amazing to me. I don't do worms and I don't do dirt.
Well, I'm in rugby.
Oh.
And so, like, we do a lot of contact, physical, in the mud and whatnot. And
I have several girls playing rugby. That's kind of the thing right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
The interrogation turns into a friendly conversation between the juvenile counselor, Ms. Toby Mayer. The woman sat next to Alyssa and told the rest of the room about how girls' rugby is a new sport to the area.
High school girl rugby, and they get after it.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yes, they do.
The school doesn't sponsor it because it's too dangerous, but there's a team in Jefferson.
I know there's at least 2 teams
Halo,
in
still
Jeff City.
Halo.
Yes.
Right, Halo.
I'm not sure about the other one, but
He's looking at nuts.
And you love it?
I do.
And you love the mud? And
It's
you
so
love
much
dirt
fun.
under your fingernails? Do you mind worms?
Sergeant Rice gets right back to business, steering the conversation back to the holes.
This hole that you dug, when did you dig that hole?
Sunday, I
Sunday.
believe. Yes.
Why did you dig that hole?
Because Sunday I was bored. You don't really do much on Sunday. Can't watch TV, play video games, So, decided to go outside.
There's something in her voice that tells you she's not being entirely truthful.
Yeah.
She's also beginning to nod her head a lot, which could be her way of trying to convince Sergeant Rice that her story is true.
When did you dig it?
Ooh. I think my grandpa would have the exact time.
What?
The statement is odd.
What?
It's unclear.
What sense does that make? You think your grandpa would have the exact... How would your grandpa know the exact time you dug the hole? Huh? Hey, bro. Hey, she caught in 4K, bro. It's over. It's ups. Put her in the handcuffs. It's over for her, bro.
Clear how or why Alyssa's grandpa would know the exact time the hole was dug, especially considering what is revealed later.
I don't really remember.
What were you doing Sunday? I mean, tell me about Sunday then.
Her nonverbal indicators are more obvious. Look for the self-pacifying behaviors mentioned earlier, in addition to new behaviors like lip-licking and interlocking fingers.
We didn't go to church Sunday, right? because we were at Mom's house, I believe. I was at my mom's house for the weekend.
Okay.
She lives at the lake. And we came back around 5, and I know I dug it before dark, so it was sometime in between. Wait, what time did we come home?
I didn't pick you up till 6.
Well, it must have been in between like 6:37, I guess.
You picked her up where?
Eugene.
You picked her up at 6 p.m. at Eugene?
Right.
And it's how long the drive?
Half hour.
So you got back home 6:30, 6:45-ish probably?
Maybe they might at 6:30.
What?
It's at 5 minutes.
Well, it's getting dark by then.
Don't side play eyes like that ever again.
So you got home at 6:30.
Yeah.
And how did you dig a hole at what? So what did you
Well,
do
that's
Sunday? Well, I'm not asking what your grandpa. When you got home at 6:30 at Sunday, what did you do then?
Bro.
Oh.
She's shaking her head like
I
crazy.
think I took a shower and went to sleep. So I don't think I did. I think it
RG99G.
was Saturday, actually. No, because I wasn't here Saturday.
Bustamante is digging herself deeper and deeper into her own hole.
Yup.
You weren't here Saturday.
She's getting caught in 4K,
Sunday.
bro.
Right.
Monday.
I think it was Friday then, because I was here Friday.
Oh my god.
It wouldn't seem possible.
Right. Right.
And you weren't here Saturday.
Right.
And you didn't do it during the week because there's only Monday, Tuesday.
Right.
So then you're thinking it had to have been Friday.
Yes.
These weaknesses in her story will later be exploited in the interrogation. But for now, David is playing it close to his chest. He's aware her story is changing, and it seems like Alyssa is also realizing that her story is starting to fall apart.
Okay, so tell me about Friday. Do you remember Friday? Did you go to school on Friday?
We didn't have
Okay.
school Friday.
No school on
So I
Friday.
got up around like noon.
Okay.
Ish.
So were Grandma and Grandpa home on Friday? Or did you work on Friday?
Saturday.
You worked half a day, so you've been home at noon?
Hey. Yo, Jeffrey.
Okay, so was she asleep when you got home?
I just do not recall.
Okay. So then Friday, what'd you do? Think back to Friday.
After getting up, I hung out for a while at the house, and it was a nice day Friday.
She is deflecting or attempting to redirect focus elsewhere.
A nice day
In certain
Friday.
contexts, hair stroking is a pacifying behavior. Hair stroking is not one of Bustamante's baseline behaviors and is occurring in a high-pressure context. This is likely a pacifying behavior. Bustamante is uncomfortable.
Relatively nice day.
Bitch getting
So
pressed.
I decided to go outside and just do whatever. And I dug a hole.
She did a little hair flips.
Alyssa's bouncing around more than she was at the beginning of the interrogation.
She did a little hair flips.
She's rocking back and
She
forth,
getting nervous.
nodding her head.
She
It
getting
seems that
nervous.
as her story is unraveling, so are her nerves of steel.
Why did you dig that hole?
Because I was bored and I felt like doing something.
Tell me about that hole, though. It's a very specific hole. I mean, it's a very unique hole, I should say.
Are all of your holes like that?
No.
But why? You dug the hole, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Rice is describing the hole in a vague way to see if Alyssa might add anything that would explain why she dug it. She doesn't really have an answer or a reason to give as to why she dug that particular hole.
That was a very, very unique hole.
I guess. I was digging. I mean, whatever shape comes to mind. I was just entertaining myself.
What thing's going to happen? Then I'm going to let you get a refund after you try to kill our ears?
And you can understand why, as if people were out in the woods.
Well, I can't even do a refund. I mean, I can't
looking
refund
for a person if they were lost, or God
spend
forbid, looking for if they thought it was a, God forbid, a body. Why they would be alarmed by that hole, because they're, come along a hole, freshly dug hole that was, and so think a perfect rectangle about 3 feet by about 4.5, 5 foot. Straight shovel marks down, about as you described when I talked to you out there.
Actually, wait,
about
Jeffrey.
That deep.
Loki, can you do me a quick little favor?
Mm-hmm.
Way too bad.
Interrogators probe for specific answers after
Too
asking
bad.
broad, open-ended
Not
questions.
my problem.
This is, again, part of the TED interrogative technique, or the TEDs.
So then, Friday, what did you do? Why did you do the whole?
This is, again, part of the TED interrogative technique, or the tell, explain, describe technique. Imagine the flow of interrogation as a funnel. Alyssa's interrogation has become more focused, narrower. Rice is asking a very specific, probing question. Not only does he ask a very specific, probing question, but he illustrates with his hands the exact size and shape of the hole.
Straight down the first few inches of dirt, up until you get to that real hard packed dirt, almost as if somebody were digging down. Got to the point where you get to those roots in that hard dirt and realize it's too hard to dig. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Rice relays details and speculation surrounding the crime scene, but does so from Alyssa's perspective. Alyssa is likely to identify with the story he tells.
So erotica galore.
Liars tend to distance themselves from their lies, but Rice has psychologically repositioned her into a self-identifying mindset. Her nonverbal indicators become increasingly prominent.
Most people, if they were just going to bury a bunny or something.
Do I call you erotica or do I call you galore?
I'm digging a hole.
I prefer me to call
dig
you
a hole. But for a 15-year-old girl to dig a perfectly rectangle 3 by 4 or 5 square rectangle hole, it just caught a lot of people as very odd.
That makes sense. It does.
The hole Alyssa dug is the perfect size and shape for a small grave. It's a perfect 3-foot by 5-foot rectangle, shallow, and is alarming to come across during a search for a missing child.
What do you think about that?
When Sergeant Rice asks, "What do you think about that?" to Alyssa, he's using the theory of the crime development, where the investigator knows there was a crime, but doesn't understand all the steps involved and doesn't fully comprehend the motive. This is where interrogators will use deceptively innocent questions to get the suspect to fill in the gaps and create a plausible working understanding of the events.
Well, I guess, the timing for digging that hole was definitely not good.
The time for digging that hole was not good. Bro, girl, you're caught, bro. Come on now, bro. Like, you're caught. So you're just telling me like what? You just randomly dug a hole when a little girl is missing, and it's like a perfectly dug hole. Like, what are the chances of that happening, huh? This girl, bro.
Have you ever dug a hole like that before?
I have.
There's an entire discussion about other holes of similar shape and size that she's dug before. These holes are where she buries animals, but there's no clear indication if Alyssa happened upon these animals' bodies or killed them herself.
It doesn't matter if it's a year old. They have sonar. They can run right over it, and they can tell you the shape, the depth, the whole thing. I mean, we're talking about guys that have the FBI. They have instruments that can do just about everything.
This is subtle intimidation meant to imply that Alyssa need not lie.
Have you dug a hole like this before then, or is this the first time?
It's not completely like this, but it's like kind of like that.
Okay.
Like
so
big enough for a shoebox.
Okay, but this is the first time of that size.
Yes.
Okay.
But what about the big round ones that I kept falling in? And I mean, they're deep. And I kept telling them, did you guys quit doing this? Because they're dangerous. And we used to ride our horses up there, and I could break a leg. I mean, they're huge.
Our horses.
Okay.
There's like 3 or 4 of them. Yeah. And this is on our property.
Digging pits for what?
I don't know.
It was entertaining.
Okay.
That's what she said.
And we like to make traps. Just occasionally, put some sticks over it and some leaves.
Yeah, for you to break a leg.
Yeah.
Well, if they have horses, that's not a good idea, Alyssa.
Well, we don't ride our horses up there.
I was going to say, if a horse breaks its leg, what happens?
I know, but we
They're making pit ball traps and shit. What the fuck is this?
Well, we used to. We have
Hunger Games.
I have horses. You have horses.
I do.
They're not rectangle. They're
big round ones.
Big round. I don't know what that matters.
Okay. Did ever go on walks with you in the woods?
Yeah, Chad, we couldn't get a mock the other
The questions asked here are entrapment questions, and if any inconsistencies are found, the suspect's statements would be treated as lies. This type of questioning places additional pressure on the suspect as the interrogation continues.
I've
I know you
seen
said
her.
she was a girly girl.
Yeah, I've
but-
never seen her in the woods.
Okay. I mean, did you ever take her on walks in the woods or anything like that?
When I go on walks, I like to go by myself.
Okay.
Here we see a clear inconsistency in what Alyssa is saying and what her body is saying. When asked if she has ever gone on walks with Elizabeth in the woods, Alyssa states, nope. Her head movement transitions from side to side to up and down. Alyssa's body tells a different story. From side in the woods, Alyssa saying, here we see a clear inconsistency in what Alyssa is saying and what her body is saying. When asked if she has ever gone on walks with Elizabeth in the woods, Alyssa states, nope. Her head movement transitions from side to side to up and down. Alyssa's body tells a different story.
What do you know about all of this so far? Obviously, unfortunately, your poor family has been thrown in the middle of this.
His additional comments, such as, your poor family has been thrown into the middle of this, relay that he feels sympathy for Alyssa and her family, however false that sympathy might be.
What do you know about this whole investigation of this?
She's still missing. They're out looking for her. They don't want more volunteers because there's a lot of volunteers so far. This is really big. They've had helicopters searching as well. And I don't know, that's pretty much what I know.
As noted previously, she responds cognitively rather than from a place of feeling. She doesn't have much to say about her family when Toby and Sergeant Rice start empathizing with what Elizabeth's family must be feeling. And interestingly, her face falls into a neutral expression, and she stays silent.
It's very sad for her.
Yeah,
Could you imagine if it was missing? God, it would be awful.
Yeah, and her mom, her family has...
Yeah. I mean, that's why they're making such a big deal about this. I mean, can you, like you said, if it, I mean, you can understand why all this is going
down the
on.
stairs when I was screaming outside. I mean, I just can't.
I know, I've got kids, so I can't even imagine. What do you think happened to Elizabeth?
Sergeant Rice moves into opinion questions now. Many interrogation questions are closed, meaning they warrant a yes or no response or elicit a single fact or piece of information. Opinion questions are open-ended. Interrogation studies have shown that open-ended questions will get all suspects to talk longer and to be more likely to divulge incriminating evidence without even realizing it.
Well, I really don't think she would run away because she's 9. And the way they've been searching for 2 days, never got any sign of her. So I think that maybe someone kidnapped her or something.
Bro, what?
Terrible thing.
Bro, you just say, yeah, someone just kidnapped her, right? Oh my god. Come on now. Now you're just making an assumption. Okay. Alright.
I don't know what else to assume.
Innocent individuals might be more likely to mention that they don't know. Guilty individuals might feel more compelled to provide an explanation that doesn't fit with the crime they committed. We see this as Alyssa evades the topic of murder.
Would she have easily been lured into a car? I mean, was she that kind of girl? I don't know anything about her. Would she have been like with a kitten? I mean,
maybe. You'd have to ask her mom about
sure.
Do you think somebody did something to her? I mean, is that?
That seems most likely because I don't think she'd be the kind of person that would like hide or stay out all night or anything like that.
Okay. Is there anybody in that area you can think of that would, that comes to mind that you would think of that would do that? Is there anybody that, knowing your neighbors, that you would?
No.
Rice baits Alyssa to place blame. Guilty suspects commonly deflect and offer helpful explanations, as Alyssa does here.
But there is a lot of cars that drive down that highway.
Blame. Guilty suspects commonly deflect and offer helpful explanations, as Alyssa does here.
But there is a lot of cars that drive down that highway.
Okay, just a few opinion questions.
Just trying to pin everything on some random niggas. That's crazy.
What follows are loaded questions. Here is the first one broken down.
What type of person do you think would do this sort of thing to a 9-year-old girl?
Ooh.
1. It's assumptive.
Ooh.
It assumes that someone did something to Elizabeth. 2. It's vague. It assumes that someone did something but doesn't specify what that something is. 3. Use of this versus that. This is used as a definite article. In grammar, the function of a definite article is to imply but not state what is being referred to. In other words, this is used in such a way that the speaker is assuming that the listener knows what this is. Further, this implies that something is closer to the listener, whereas that implies that something is further away. 4. Use.
Okay, basically, to summarize it, this 15-year-old girl who's getting interrogated, she basically, well, I would say allegedly, she killed her younger sister. Was it her younger sister or her sister's neighbor or some shit like that? Basically, she killed a 9-year-old. All right, and she I think she strangled her and dug a hole and buried her or some shit. Shit's crazy, bro. Bad crazy.
Use of 9-year-old girl. This is distancing language, or language that creates psychological distance from the main topic of discussion, i.e. use of that versus my. Up until this point, they've referred to Elizabeth by name. It also calls attention to Elizabeth's vulnerability. 5. It's a mirror. Guilty parties are forced to analyze themselves and resultingly come face to face with who they are and why they did what they did. This can produce observable signs of cognitive dissonance, a subjective experience of discomfort when 2 or more ways of thinking, feeling, or otherwise experiencing clash. The dissonance may include discordant ideas, beliefs, behavior, etc.
What type of person do you think would do this sort of thing to a 9-year-old girl?
That's crazy.
A sick person, like someone that, I don't know, can put down all their morals and just take a 9-year-old girl.
Yeah, like you.
Alyssa pauses, stutters, and struggles to get the words out. She's looking in the mirror.
Yep.
She parrots Rice, 9-year-old girl, using a parallel tone and inflection. Sociopaths and psychopaths hide in plain sight by observing and mimicking the mannerisms and behaviors of those around them. The word "this" served as a placeholder. Whatever Alyssa said would represent what she knew this to be, but Alyssa evaded this trap. She could have filled that placeholder with "kill," but she filled it with "take." On the other hand, this could be seen as a slip-up, as Alyssa did technically take Elizabeth into the woods.
Whenever we find out what happened to her, if somebody did something to her.
Shit. Bro, most niggas they would have been caught red, bro. The minute they said, I don't know who would ever kill a kid like that, bro, it would have been game over.
What do you think should happen?
Game over.
I think they should get convicted. Well, yeah, because all the trouble that they're causing so far.
Alyssa is faced with her fate. We can see and hear her cognitive dissonance in her ums, pauses, and nonverbals, which all indicate discomfort. There are many areas in which Alyssa could slip up and incriminate herself. For instance, she could use possessive language, say I instead of they. She may be aware of this, suggestive from her halting breaks in speech. The next questions that follow are direct and straight to the point, even though he prefaces that he asks everybody these questions.
I'm going to ask you because I ask everybody. Did you do anything to her?
No.
Did you cause her disappearance?
No.
Did you kill her?
No.
Okay. Do you know where she's at right now?
No.
Okay.
Alyssa's responses may seem convincing. She says no with conviction, appearing to shake her head back and forth in tandem. We covered that inconsistencies between verbal and nonverbal behaviors imply lying. So why do Alyssa's verbal and nonverbal behaviors appear consistent with one another? A closer look reveals that Alyssa ever so slightly nods her head up and down after each no response. Incongruent movements are more often subtle, as we see with Alyssa, then exaggerated.
Yo!
Directly following the big question,
That's
did you
crazy.
kill Elizabeth? Alyssa says no, and begins to shake her head back and forth, but stops halfway. She's not committed to what she's saying.
Yo.
I may have.
That's wild.
I'm new to this, but so was playing with.
That's my understanding.
And when was that?
Oh, they were sometime after I had gone in the forest because I
Good to
guess
see
I
you,
just
Nut.
decided to go over it with days.
Oh, after you ran away,
Yes.
she went to find somebody new to play with.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Do I need to stop?
Yes.
Yeah.
You okay?
Let us out.
Do you
No,
need
I didn't know the doors were
Do you
locked.
need some water? Okay. Do you need some? Okay.
After a break in the interrogation, Alyssa sits quietly in the room alone. Rocking back and forth, as with other repetitive body movements, is a self-pacifying nonverbal behavior. Toby takes advantage of downtime to build rapport with Alyssa.
Because I'm your roommate too.
Uh,
It's not through the school because it's too dangerous to live with rashes. Right.
As soon as
It's
Detective
been
Rice
good.
re-enters the room,
Went to
Alyssa
the
begins to
dentist.
immediately display the
eye
self-pacifying
doctor and
behavior of
stuff,
hair
or
stroking, something she
try to
didn't
get him
do
glasses
right
and
until
stuff,
the
but
moment
didn't
Rice
go too well.
reappeared.
Hair reminds me of got a niece. Just like her. All right.
I'm good.
Okay. Everybody good? Everybody good on drinks and everything? So, okay.
Alyssa sits expressionless as Rice and Toby exchange lighthearted small talk.
You know, I used to talk to my parents, you know, when they said, you know, I grew up listening, you know, we didn't have a TV, we had a radio, and I'm like, God, that's, you didn't have a television? You didn't have the internet?
Sergeant Rice asks about Elizabeth Olten's cell phone and tells Alyssa that law enforcement knows Elizabeth had her phone at the time of her disappearance. She's told that with the software available to law enforcement, they can find any cell phone anywhere on the planet. It's a simple scare tactic, but it's a way to say that any lies will be found out.
Is there any reason at all that your fingerprints would be on that cell phone?
No.
Okay. So if that cell phone were processed, your fingerprints would not be on it.
right.
Can you think of any reason why? Have you ever touched that cell phone? Have you ever held that cell phone? I mean, in the past, any time at all? Now, it's my understanding that did the FBI do a search or something of the house where you guys lived?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that. What was that all about?
They searched our house, I guess, for any signs of, and they found stuff in my room, but not like evidence like that. They found like marijuana seeds and
And you understand, I don't care about marijuana seeds or any of that.
and they found
I could care less.
my medication.
Don't care about that.
Yeah.
That's not what we're here about. Has ever been in the house? I mean, she's coming over to visit with them.
Yes.
Yeah, I assume if she's a neighbor girl, she's probably been over there. So,
Money? What you mean?
not a big deal there. So,
Oh, bro.
you said they searched your room.
Yes.
Other than
No, I got
marijuana
a phone
seeds and that
before
sort of
me.
stuff, did they find
Like
anything?
my first phone I had when I was like in
Did
fourth
they take
grade.
anything?
I was like 10 years
They
old.
took my sheet and
Okay.
a pillowcase. I
Okay.
think.
Did they take anything else?
I don't think so. I haven't really surveyed anything.
Okay. Okay.
I think they took clothes
Ew.
Oh, and they took a pair of pants.
Okay.
and a diary. I mean, they gave us the list. It's not all coming to me what was on the list, but there's a long list.
This moment is incredibly significant. Up until this point, Alyssa had no idea her diary was collected as evidence.
I mean, they gave us the list. It's not all coming to me what was on the list, but there's a long list.
Your diary. Okay. You ever gone through the diary?
I've looked at some of it, yes.
Did you know that?
No.
Does it make you angry?
Oh, no.
It's kind of your private.
Cowabunga!
thoughts, isn't it?
It's good, TK.
Alyssa's bedroom was anything but ordinary of what you would expect for a 15-year-old girl. The room was messy, with clothes thrown on the floor, but it was the bizarre writings all over her walls that caught investigators' attention, and a drawn figure with slash marks to their head and arms, with the name Emma, Alyssa's younger sister, written next to it. Some of these writings, including dark poems, were written in pen and marker, but others looked like they'd been written in blood.
Let me inspect some of this.
Letters and
Meat sucks. She over here drawing on her wall and shit in the house, nigga. Shit. Hey, man. All I'm saying is, let my mom ever catch me drawing in the house at that age. Shit. I'm gonna be a homeless boy. I'm gonna be a homeless child. Best believe. Nah, bro, you getting on sight.
But others looked like they'd been written in blood.
What?
Letters and cards were taped up onto the walls from her father, who was still in prison at the time. And on Alyssa's bed, hidden under a blanket, was her journal. She wrote down her thoughts and feelings like any normal teenage girl, but nothing could prepare the investigators for what else they would find inside. The journal was filled with disturbing thoughts, including Alyssa's desire to burn a house down with a family inside.
What the
She wrote another entry which stated, "If I don't talk about it, I bottle it up, and when I explode, someone is going to die."
Yo.
Her last entry, dated Wednesday, October 21st, was the same day Patty Olton reported Elizabeth's disappearance to the police. Alyssa had scribbled the words out in blue ink, thinking no one would ever figure out how to read them. Despite her efforts to cover up the entry, investigators were able to read the disturbing original writing. "I just fucking killed someone. I strangled them and slit their throat and stabbed them. Now they're dead.
Yo.
I don't know how to feel at the moment." It was amazing. As soon as you get over the, "oh my god, I can't do this" feeling.
I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna be fucking sick. This is a 9-year-old girl she's talking about, by the way. This is a 9-year-old girl she's talking about, by the way. What the fuck? She said amazing. The fact that she spelled it this way, nah, bro. Nah. Lock her under the jail cell. Lock her under the prison. I don't care. I don't care if she's 15, bro. Lock her under the prison.
Pretty enjoyable. I'm kind of nervous and shaky, though, right now. Okay, I got...
Pretty enjoyable. Bro, this girl's psychotic, bro. I'm nervous and shaky, though, right now. Okay, I gotta go to church now. Oh, my God. No.
Gotta go to church now, LOL.
That is crazy.
This entire time, Detective Rice was well aware of the sickening confession Alyssa had written inside, and was waiting up until this moment to confront her and take her completely off guard.
So this nigga knew the whole time, bro.
There will
He
be
knew
a
the whole
massive
time
shift in Alyssa's demeanor,
bro.
As she realizes.
Chat, that is the thing about, bro. That's the thing about feds, bro. They know. They already know. There's no way in life. They already know, bro. There's no use. That shit's crazy.
Are over.
Do you think they went through your diary?
If they collected it, then most likely.
He remains silent for 13 seconds,
No.
and you can see how uncomfortable Alyssa becomes. He will continue to use long moments of silence to make Alyssa uncomfortable, and eventually draw out a confession.
Yes, stare her down.
What? Well, I think I'm just embarrassed sometimes if they find it at me.
The most important aspect of reading body language is analyzing clusters rather than individual indicators. In the following clip, you'll see a cluster of indicators that Alyssa exhibits, suggesting she is experiencing high levels of stress.
Yep.
So.
She smacks her lips,
So.
swallows, flips her hair. She'll then exhibit what is known as the freeze response, which is a limbic system response to danger. She gets so still, she almost appears to be a statue.
We talked a little bit earlier about technology.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you write something down,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Let's say you write it down in pencil, and then you take a pen
You scribble it.
and try real hard to scratch it out.
Bro, I'm sorry. That was fucking dumb. That is the stupid, bro. She tried to scratch that in blue pen. Just so, literally just so, oh God, what'd they find out? Bro, like, if she was look, I'm not saying she should have like, been smart about this, because obviously I want she has to be arrested for the shit she's done. She is fucking insane. But my nigga, you know what I mean? Crumple paper up, burn it somewhere. Like, why would you write it down? Are you fucking sped? What kind of fucking dumb shit?
Okay.
It's still there.
The fuck?
And forensically, and actually you don't even need a whole lot of forensics.
Yeah, at least try and dispose of it in some way.
You can see what was written.
Try to scribble over it.
And then when it's processed
Dumbass.
forensically, every word, every stroke is still there. Do you hear me?
On top of that, she wrote in pen too, you idiot. She wrote in fucking pen. Like she wrote in a fucking pencil.
What we want to do
You dumb bitch.
is find out what happened to the little girl.
Okay.
Alyssa's face, though a bit grainy in the footage, is almost frowning. She's struggling to keep it together, giving only short answers to Rice's questions. Then, Rice drops another bombshell.
I need to know what the truth is.
Okay.
We have your diary.
Say it.
We've read your diary,
Say it, girl.
including the last entry.
Say it, girl. Essential silence. Yo, she froze it. She like a fucking icicle. Hey, say it. Say it. Confess. Confess your sins, girl. Yo, that silence
He goes
is
silent
crazy.
for a full 70 seconds.
That silence
Just
is
over
crazy.
a minute. It may not seem like a very long
No,
time.
bro, I can't imagine to be in this situation, bro. When you know for a fact that you're guilty, they're just staring you down. It's just silent, bro. You must be feeling, bro. You must be thinking so many emotions. Like, yo, it's up. Yo, it's crazy, bro. There's probably like a million like different thoughts going through your head right now. That silence is crazy. It's over.
But when you're in an interrogation and under pressure, this
It's that
silence
way.
must have felt
It's that
like the
way, but it's
longest
getting good.
silence Alyssa ever
It's
endured.
getting good though.
And you can see her face start to falter. Maybe her eyes are watering up, but it's hard to tell. Some argue that the first person who breaks silence in an interrogative setting loses the round. Alyssa indulges the silence, which might be more telling than if she objected to Rice's implication. Alyssa could be brainstorming. She could be terrified. It looks like there was a moment when Alyssa might break, but then she seems to reset her emotions and remain quiet, staring back at Sergeant Rice.
We both know what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
Where's she at?
I don't know.
I'm sure we can reason that.
What?
We deal with kids all the time. We deal with kids all the time. That's all I've done for 12 years is deal with kids.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to say anything in this room that's going to catch us off guard. Okay? We need you to be honest. Just be honest. If you know something, then say it. Okay?
Toby is making a serious error here by involving herself in the questioning.
Yeah.
She is a juvenile officer, and in taking this role, she's supposed to be acting as Alyssa's advocate, not as an interrogator.
Yeah.
She is limited to observing the interrogation and protecting Alyssa's rights,
She
crossing the line
She
here.
fucked
And due
up.
to this mistake, the confession was later ruled inadmissible in court, citing deceptive tactics
What?
being used to draw a confession out of Alyssa.
Oh, you're such an idiot. You're stupid. Why would you say that? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Just say it if you know something.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You need to tell us the truth.
Oh
You need
my
to tell us what
god.
happened.
She just sold.
If this was an accident, that's fine, but we need the truth.
With Rice saying it's fine if it, meaning the death of Elizabeth, was an accident. This is the minimization part of the Reed technique that's been used throughout this entire interrogation. Minimization is an interrogator's attempt to decrease a suspect's resistance to confessing by downplaying the seriousness of the crime. We can tell Alyssa is teetering on the precipice of confessing, toying with the idea. Cornered by two questioners, she tightly compresses her lips as she builds the courage to confess.
We have to know the truth. That's all I'm asking for, is whatever happened. I have to know the truth. This is not going to go away. All I'm asking for is the truth.
I don't know what's in the diary. I don't know the truth.
That's what I'm asking. Tell us what happened.
She confesses all regardless, for real.
The lip pull is a micro-expression that signals intense displeasure, dislike, or disagreement. In sports, players will often exhibit the lip pull after a loss. They are resistantly admitting defeat.
Low-key.
Alyssa exhibits the lip pull here.
I can see people do
This
that
may speak
all
to
the
Alyssa's
time,
mindset. Is this remorse or regret? Or is it defeat? The interrogator will now begin to reiterate the accident theory.
It's called
and
salt.
at this point, I think Alyssa's grandmother is losing her mind in a very quiet and composed
hey, she got
way.
raw XD girl, bro.
If this was an accident,
She one of
that's fine.
those.
We can deal with that. But I have to know what happened. I have to know what the truth was. I have to know how this happened. And the most important thing is, we have to know where she's at.
My Gucci.
We have to give this family some closure. Just like if this was your little sister.
Mark Henry? It does kind of sound like him.
You would want closure.
Hi guys, I'm Cleveland Brown.
This family needs closure. Okay?
Look like him, buddy.
Let's start at the beginning.
Ha ha ha.
Is this something that was planned out, or was this just an accident?
It was an accident.
Okay.
Interrogators often offer a chance for suspects to admit that the crime was an accident, even if all evidence suggests otherwise. This is a method for interrogators to get a foot in the door. The suspect admits to the crime, thinking they will be perceived as being less culpable, a form of minimization. It's telling that there was a pause between the words it and was.
It was an accident.
She's quickly thinking about her options and whether she can lie her way out of this situation.
Well, this is a starting point then.
What the fuck, man? What the fuck?
Kind of what I.
What the fuck?
Why don't we start with?
It's be weird for real. God damn. I don't let it get to
Did
me.
you get home
like,
from school at 3:30?
Like, do niggas literally live on Twitch just to get banned? Like, I don't understand that. Look, I don't understand that. The niggas just hop in random chats and like, okay, what can I do now to get banned in this chat? Oh, I know. I'm gonna tell the streamer to kill himself. Yeah, that'll get him. Like, congratulations. It worked. I guess. I don't know. I don't know, bro. This niggas is so weird, bro. I swear to God, niggas is weird. But whatever.
Got home at 3:30.
I ain't tripping about it.
And then what happened from there?
I went in the forest. Like I said.
And that counts too. I don't think they can do that no more, bro. I think Twitch has like I think ban evasion now. I think if you like you've been banned before, Twitch could detect you have like a similar account. So that shouldn't work.
Was there in the forest?
Yes.
Was she alone?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's crying, bro. It's up.
We decided to go hang out. Because it was a nice day.
Like, it's a confession. She's confessing.
We were just messing.
beige Crocs you can follow.
We're just touching around. And she fell. She died.
She fell and died.
I didn't know what to do.
She fell where and died? That ain't true. You're telling the full story, girl. You're missing out some parts.
So
That's me cap.
Alyssa struggles to inhale. Her windpipe is constricting, which indicates the presence of severe stress. This biological marker of stress suggests Alyssa is legitimately affected. It could likewise be that Alyssa is effectively, intentionally activating a stress response for the sake of believability.
What? No, that's psychotic. That's psychotic. If she's actually if she's actually trying to do that, that is extremely psychotic, bro. Yeah, and she's sociopath for it. No.
I burned her body.
What the fuck?
Alyssa goes from sobbing to attempting to pull herself together. She abruptly and flatly states the burnt Elizabeth's body. The time it took her to pull herself together is probably how long it took for her to come up with that lie. In reality, she didn't burn Elizabeth, as we'll soon find out what Alyssa actually did to her.
NBA Matrix, thank you for the follow.
Nobody.
Rice asks another assumptive question. When interrogators assume answers, suspects with answers are more likely to share them.
We're out in the forest.
I still did it by the creek bed.
By the creek bed? Yes. How did you burn her?
And just a bunch of wood. Started a fire. And burned her body.
The only reason it seems she said she burned the body without knowing how difficult it is to actually burn a body is because burning would presumably get rid of evidence and the body of the missing girl everyone is looking for.
Why did you dig that hole? Was that for her? When did you dig the hole? You dug it ahead of time, didn't you?
I've done that hole.
Oh god. Okay, can I
Before you play?
pause like real quick? All I'm saying is just chill out a little bit, man.
First, she states she dug
yes, Daddy!
to continue pushing the narrative that it was all just an accident. Then
Yes,
she slips up
but
without
she's still
even
lying about
realizing
confession,
it,
though.
stating the truth. The hole was dug on Friday, 5 days prior to the murder. At this point, Alyssa can't even follow her own story. Alyssa admitting to digging the hole before she and Elizabeth hung out establishes premeditation.
The hole was dug 5 days before the murder. So this is premeditated. This was she planned to kill this girl, bro. She planned to kill this girl. This is premeditated. Nah, that's crazy.
They'll go through and do an
That's
autopsy.
crazy.
And they will discover every injury on her body.
God, he's bald. Give us why you timer for that.
Said she fell, and that's why she died. However, they will know
Chill.
the autopsy if she was shot, if she was hit in the head,
Read the
if
man.
her throat was cut. They will know all of that from
Next
the
time, I don't
autopsy.
care about these petty arguments.
So we need to know the truth because at the end of the autopsy,
I feel that,
they will know
bro.
Exactly.
It's just like I see
died.
like
So we need to know now the full truth,
I like
full disclosure.
consistently
right now,
see
so
you
it
like
doesn't come
arguing
out
with
later
somebody in
that,
chat.
well,
It's like third day in a row.
It wasn't telling the full truth again.
Then he calls her bluff.
How did she kill her?
Usually I just ignore it, but like now it's just like kind of annoying.
I didn't. She died.
How did she die? 9-year-old girls don't just die.
We were messing around. Then she fell back.
QX, I'm talking about Haku. That's the Haku. I'm talking about.
Was her throat cut?
Alyssa sharply exhales as she
I was
responds.
not 35 yet. When I get on Marvel, I'll give y'all the opportunity.
We see Alyssa's emotional appeal to her grandmother. Her emotional stuntedness appears to have limits. Individuals with psychopathic and sociopathic personality traits or tendencies, while removed from feeling in a multitude of ways, may experience normal feelings of love for family as she responds.
Yeah.
Wait.
We were messing. I didn't.
Her bluff.
Truth, full disclosure, right now, so it doesn't come out later that, well, wasn't telling the full truth again.
Then he calls her bluff.
How did she know it?
That's tough.
I didn't. She died.
How did she die? 9-year-old girls don't just die.
We were messing around.
Messing around.
She fell back. Hit her head.
The fuck kind of shit is that? What kind of story is that? She just fell back and hit her head, falls back and hits her head.
Was
right?
her throat cut?
Crazy.
Alyssa sharply exhales as she responds.
Yeah.
We see Alyssa's emotional appeal to her grandmother. Her emotional stuntedness appears to have limits. Individuals with psychopathic and sociopathic personality traits or tendencies, while removed from feeling in a multitude of ways, may experience normal feelings of love for family and others closest to them.
All that in the chat right now, bro.
Oh my God.
I hope to see y'all in 2022. I hope y'all are part of our community next year. Y'all won't be sorry.
I'm not asking questions right now until we get.
Best believe y'all won't be sorry. Got lots of plans for next year for real. Big things. Bro, that's crazy, bro. It must hurt to hear that what was that? That's her daughter or granddaughter? I don't know. It must hurt to hear that your kid is like, on this type of timing, bro. It must hurt for real, bro. I can't imagine being there.
Alyssa finally admits to cutting Elizabeth Olten's throat.
Oh my God.
Alyssa's grandmother cries out in utter anguish and disbelief.
Nah,
her
bro.
entire world was just destroyed. Her granddaughter, the one she rescued from a horrible living situation, just admitted to killing a 9-year-old girl. But why did Alyssa kill her?
I'm afraid to ask what.
I think you dug the hole ahead of time because you knew you were going to kill her. I think you tried to dig the hole, like I said, and realized it was too hard to dig down that far.
Oh my God.
And I think you got.
Did you have a terrible childhood? I don't know. I mean, her mother had her when she was 15, and her father was in prison. So I suppose, but I mean, shit. I don't mean you gotta go around killing 9-year-olds. Like the fuck, that shit crazy.
They knew you were gonna kill her.
Dad cursed. Thank you for the follow.
And then you cut her throat.
We're cutting a 9-year-old's throat. What's wrong with you, bro? The fuck's wrong with your head?
Happened? Yes.
We hear Alyssa exhale heavily, possibly a sign of relief, as she runs through her actions. She does this multiple times.
What did you use to cut her throat with?
What kind of knife, girl?
A pocket knife? A kitchen knife?
kitchen knife.
Where's that kitchen knife?
Nah, it was a Chucky knife. It's a chef's knife.
Sink,
The sink of your house.
I believe so.
Nah, that's crazy, bro.
Did you stab her?
Afterwards.
Stab her body or where?
Yes.
Okay. How many times
Because
did you
she's
stab?
that fucking crazy.
2. I
2.
think.
Wait, what?
Okay. How many times did you stab her?
Stabbed her 2 times. Oh my god.
2.
2.
I think.
Alyssa leans on words such as I believe and I think. These phrases often function as hedges. In some instances, hedges serve to soften statements or make them seem more cautious. Imagine how Alyssa would sound when responding to questions without these hedge phrases. Her response may seem overly cold and blunt, suggesting emotional detachment and even premeditation.
Murder's vegans.
Given has displayed socio- and or psychopathic tendencies thus far, it would be reasonable to conclude that she is consciously employing a social adaptive mechanism, or a learned regularity in human social behavior to mimic the normal flow of human conversation.
Did you hit her with anything first?
No.
Or did you just cut her neck? Or what? You tell me what happened.
Stop with the crocodile tears, bro. Just say what happens. We ain't gotta hear nothing about it. Stop with the crocodile tears. Killed her with a sandwich maker. That was crazy.
Premeditation has been established because she dug a grave prior to Elizabeth's murder. And Alyssa finally tells Rice what the murder weapon was: a black-handled kitchen knife that she took from her house and hid on her person. It's confirmed that Alyssa slit Elizabeth's throat and then stabbed her. Alyssa only recalls stabbing her twice, but the autopsy later revealed that Elizabeth was stabbed 8 times.
8 times!
When she was finished, she just put the knife in the sink and washed it as if nothing had happened.
When you got home...
That is fucking psychotic, bro. Bro, you know how up in the head you have to be to do some shit like that? You slit a 9-year-old's throat, stab her 8 times, wash up the knife like nothing happened, and not to mention, you go in your little diary and you brag about how amazing it was and how much you enjoyed it in your diary about how you just loved stabbing a 9-year-old. What the fuck is wrong with you? What is going through your head? Are you okay? Well, that's a rhetorical question. She's not okay. What the fuck? Nah, bro. That's crazy.
From school.
That's crazy as hell. That's
what
crazy.
Happened from that?
I hope she's trying as an adult for that shit. They better try her as an adult. That is not okay.
I went in my room. I still went out for 4 hours.
That is not okay.
5:30ish. Then I walked over and it was outside.
And not to mention, this is premeditated, by the way. So she planned to do this. She planned on doing this 5 days before she killed her. She planned this. That is psychotic as f***.
She dig the hole.
Psychotic, bro.
I did that when I was trying to find a place to hide her body.
So did you dig that after you killed her?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Okay. So at about 5:30, you went out. Did you go to her house?
I'm not sure when this...
I went over there and she was outside, so it's like...
Somewhere in 2000, something. I'm not sure when this was recorded.
Okay, so you went over there about 5:30 and got her.
Was the girl family to her? She was her neighbor, I guess, bro.
Part of the way.
She was her neighbor.
Like I said, I ditched her.
Ditched her?
Yeah.
Did you have the knife hidden on you? Or where was it at?
It was her little sister's best friend, bro. It's crazy as hell.
In your hand?
No.
So you went, did you walk all the way over to her house?
Yeah.
Okay. Show me what route you went.
I went back through here.
Went and got her. What did you tell her you were going to do?
We were just hanging out at first.
She was an
Oh,
adult.
no,
They better charge her as an adult, bro. I don't give a fuck. That shit is not cool at all. That's cruel. That is cruelty.
You had the knife with you.
Cruelty.
Had you made up your decision you were going to kill
There
her?
is nothing that could excuse for someone to do that shit, type of shit, bro. Nothing.
At what point did you make the decision?
I don't give a fuck if she's 15. I don't care. Oh! Oh! Chat, we got 25.
At the creek.
Got 25.
Why?
Yes, sir.
I don't know.
W25.
Serial killers murder victims who are readily available, easily accessible, vulnerable,
Y'all
isolated
heard.
or weak, and desirable.
I said 35. I said, yeah. I'm in the A. Oh! 26. Yeah, I said 34, 20. Yeah, I said 24 hour, right? 35.
Elizabeth was
I
a
do-
neighbor,
I do-
easily accessible.
I do
She was a
AOs.
9-year-old girl, vulnerable. One can only speculate how Elizabeth might have uniquely appealed to Alyssa. Either way, Alyssa cannot identify why
It
she
doesn't
did
work.
what she did.
Yeah, I mean, it's
just
not.
as she seems to
it's not
struggle to
guaranteed to
identify
always
her
work.
emotions. Was 15-year-old
It's not
Alyssa
guaranteed to
a
always
premature, fledgling serial killer?
All I'm saying though is that
You just decided.
you know, everybody I knew who got beatings, they turned out fine. But I'm not saying it's the only option or not. It's not the right option.
Facing you, was she turned
I
around?
understand.
What happened?
She was turned around.
You just came up behind her and cut her throat.
I think there's a child-friendly way to explain shit to your kids without having to put their hands on them. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too. I feel like resorting to beating your kids, like just after them just doing some bad shit, that's not really like the best way to go about disciplining your kids. But also, like I said, I'm not saying if all else fails, you do that. But all I'm saying is, I've been through a lot. My friends have been through a lot with their parents and shit. Sometimes, I mean, it works. Sometimes, I'm not saying it always works. Cause some kids who get beatings and they're bad, they still turn out bad. I know niggas who got hella beatings from their kids and from their parents, and they still turned out to be, you know, troublemakers afterwards. It doesn't always work, but I mean, if that's like your only way to discipline your kid, then that's kind of crazy. But I mean, I feel like obviously, first method should be obviously to just, you know, find the best way to discipline them, like, you know, take away their shit, isolate them, you know, things like that. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie to you, me as a dad though, I'm gonna be petty as fuck with my punishments, bro. I'm gonna be mad petty. Bro, I'm gonna have my kid walk on some fucking Legos for their punishment. I'm gonna have them walk on some Legos for their punishment. That's gonna be crazy. I'll do that shit for real.
And then stabbed her twice.
Bring my about parents 2022.
And is it true you said then you burned her body?
Yeah.
Okay, is that part true?
Mm-hmm.
So is her body should still be there?
I burned it and then like scattered it.
You gotta do what you gotta do,
You did
man.
a creek?
Yes.
Is a creek full of water?
Yes.
Okay. Because generally it's pretty hard to burn a body all the way. So it wasn't burned up all the way, was it?
No.
No, because it's hard to burn a body.
Right.
So you kind of pushed what was left of the body into the water. Was the water moving pretty fast?
Kind of.
Okay.
That's torture. We need CPS on you.
Still see her clothes.
Hey, that's better than getting you by a belt. I don't care.
Okay.
Worst you gonna get is a little bit of some cuts in your foot.
Okay. And then what did you do?
But
from
you'll be
there?
fine.
You had the knife.
Probably be able to walk for a little bit.
Show me what happened from there.
It was either that,
I just walked back.
or
Came inside.
Did you walk back this?
or my around and have them do like the little y'all know what a razor. I mean, y'all should know what a razor scooter is and shit, right? Y'all ever had like a moment where like you're riding a scooter and shit like that, and then the scooter hits like the side of your ankle? Yeah, that might be my plan B. I ain't gonna lie to you. It might be my plan B. While around hit the ankles with that shit. That shit would be crazy.
Yes.
The conversation turns back to the hole.
All right, give me the left one. Now give me the right one. Yeah, I ain't gonna be crazy.
It wasn't just there.
I dug it. Yeah,
When did you dig it?
Oh,
Yeah, that's what we call the FBI. Hey, that's a look. That is a creative way to discipline your kids. I don't care.
When?
Get a shopping cart and run them over. Okay, that's OD.
Before you came home from where?
From the forest.
Who helped you?
No.
Grandpa helped you, didn't he?
No.
Rice asks her if her grandfather helped her since he was home at the time the murder took place.
You didn't have a shovel with you.
I had a knife.
You didn't dig that hole with a knife.
Yeah.
You did not dig. I was out there for 5 hours. You didn't dig that hole with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Grandpa loves you very much, doesn't he? Grandpa would do anything for you.
Ain't no way the grandpa helped her out to bury a body.
You don't want to tell me.
Ain't no way her grandpa helped her to bury a body,
Get to the
bro.
truth in this.
Say you swear to God.
You came back. You told him what had happened. And he wanted to help you.
Say you swear
He
to
wanted
God.
to try to make this right.
Say you swear.
I didn't know my grandpa anything.
Who helped you?
No one.
We're going to put them all on a polygraph.
Okay.
Who helped you?
No one.
When did you dig the hole?
Wednesday.
When?
Wednesday, she capping. She did the 5 days before.
Or I killed her.
She capping.
When after you killed her?
Big fat nuts.
This is a very common
Quite a
tactic in
clever name.
interrogations. Once the suspect is open about events, they'll try to get more and more information out of them.
Especially using Monster
The
Benevator
investigators
possible.
will treat this crime as if it involves accomplices.
Oh! Someone... A Benevator? Wait, chat. I see a Benevator. Nigga made a burner to try and troll. Twitch, you getting better with it, bro. I love it.
Until other parties can be eliminated.
I love it.
The whole becomes the topic of discussion yet again.
You've got to tell the truth.
We talking about?
You're not telling the truth on this part.
Why does it even matter now?
It does matter.
Same
Because
earlier,
we've
most
got
likely.
to find out the truth.
Most likely.
No, you already know it.
We have got to know the full truth. Tell us the truth.
Nigga probably spent like 15 minutes trying to make a whole new account to troll on just to get banned again. Man said, want to hear something? Nah, I don't hear anything, bro. I'm fine.
It was the Friday one.
QX, huh?
Yeah.
You're telling the truth about how you killed her. I believe that. Because that matches your diary.
You've done the hard part. Just tell the truth. The reality is, we can deal with the truth. We can deal with the truth.
Toby assumes a critical role in facilitating Alyssa's confession.
I dug it Friday. I did. No one helped me.
Was it your grandpa?
No one helped me. I did it by myself.
It's interesting to see how Alyssa goes from trying to lie and pretend she had nothing to do with the missing little girl to finally admitting she dug a grave and killed her. But Sergeant Rice and Toby can't believe that she committed the crime herself or dug the hole. They think her grandfather had something to do with it too. They are almost giving Alyssa away to continue her lie, but she's probably the most truthful when they try to implicate her grandfather. Probably out of love for him, because if there were ill feelings between them, There's no doubt she would attempt to throw him under the bus.
Did you do anything else to her body?
No.
That shit
Did
crazy,
anyone help
bro.
you?
No.
Who have you told about this?
No one.
No one. Did you tell? No. Did she tell your grandpa?
No.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, she lied. She lied. Her boyfriend literally said that she told him.
No one. Did you tell? No. Did you tell?
Yeah, nah, she's done, bro. She's done. She's done. Cause literally, they interrogated her boyfriend, and he legit told her. Well, he told them that she told him.
Tell your grandpa?
No.
13K on the way.
No.
Did you tell anyone?
It'd be nice to get it before the new year, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
There's a good reason that
One thing I do know, though, hold up, let me check my YouTube real quick. Chat, we are at 9 subs away from hitting 1,700 on YouTube. If y'all are new to the stream, and y'all follow me on, and y'all don't sub on YouTube yet, just drop a sub on YouTube. You know what I mean? We post on there daily. You know what I mean? Try to start the new year off strong. You know
the
what I mean?
investigators think
Trying
Alyssa
this a
didn't
little
act
differently,
alone.
you know?
Even her boyfriend said that he doesn't think she could have carried out the crime by herself. Quite literally.
I think she did this alone.
She couldn't have.
I don't think she did either.
I mean, she could barely lift me.
I know. Who would be the person that would help her?
The only good friend that I know of that she always came out with in the back was a girl named. But
Really?
that's about it.
Really?
She's right. Toby's right. You've done the hard part on this. One thing I can assure you, Alyssa, I can assure you from working in a lot of homicides for the last 13 years, I got a crummy job. The truth is going to come out. Every one of these that I work, where you're sitting here right now, going through the agonizing part of not wanting to come this last portion and tell on someone else. The full truth on whatever happened here is going to come out.
Okay, they didn't do it.
Then tell me the full truth of all this. Why aren't you telling everything?
I did. I switched up the whole thing because I want to make it like an accident.
An accident. So yeah, so she just accidentally slits her throat and stabs herself 8 times on accident, right? Okay.
Friday that I did the whole.
Another one.
I know it wasn't an accident.
Appreciate anybody, whoever that person was, who signed up for Marvel Strike Force. Thank you so much for that, bro. 3 more to 30. Chat. 3 more to 30.
I know you intend on doing this. I know that. Okay, I know this wasn't an accident, that it just spurred the moment. I know that from the whole. I know you intended on killing her, brought her out there for that purpose. But the problem is your deception is causing us other issues here. Okay, so I'm past the point of thinking, is this an accident? Did she hit her head? Did you just change your mind at the last second and for some reason decide to kill her? I know you brought her out there to kill her. Okay, why? That's not the issue, but I know that happened. But we're still having a problem here with this hole and the rest of it because you've been lying to us on that. You see, I mean, none of your times make any sense on didn't dig it with a knife. We know that didn't happen.
To be honest.
It was Friday with the shovel.
When on Friday?
I'm not sure exactly.
This is where we see the shift from the lesser charge of involuntary manslaughter, a crime of passion, to that of a premeditated murder. It's clear Alyssa planned her crime from beginning to end. She planned to lure Elizabeth into the woods to play and to dig a grave a few days before she killed her. There were signs leading up to the murder that either people didn't pay attention to, wrote off as someone just seeking attention, or it was entirely possible that they didn't think anything was wrong. Alyssa seemed to live a double life. At school, she had friends and pulled good grades, never letting them fall below a B average. Her teacher said she was a smart kid and never had any behavioral issues in school. Her social media presence showed an entirely different Alyssa. Her YouTube bio listed her hobbies as cutting and killing people. Her Twitter page gave an insight into some of Alyssa's more concerning thoughts, as she often wrote about depression, addiction, and terror. In particular, one tweet read, "All I want in life is a reason for all this pain." These types of comments weren't at all unusual for Alyssa.
Another one,
Case
chat, you're at
documents show that one of
28.
Alyssa's friends was interviewed by
Thank
police.
you so much, bro.
They said that over the
Appreciate you.
last couple of years, Alyssa had said to them, "I wonder what it."
Basically, it's a fighting game, but it's a game where you can literally put any character you want. It's it involves like a lot of anime type of characters. Well, the one I have has a lot of anime characters and shit. And usually whenever I like play it, I like basically I run like a lot of AI fights. So basically, it's character like computer versus computer, and then I have chat, play as characters in a way. It's really fun, bro. It's really fun to watch. Very interesting. But I do every Monday. Like, what the worst game ever?
It would feel
Stop
like to
hating
kill
keywords.
someone.
Stop hating.
According to her friend, Alyssa would even talk about what would happen if
And
she
also
did
run
kill
predictions-
someone,
you also run predictions
speculating
every day,
about whether or not she would get caught,
Channel
and how
predictions.
exactly she would kill someone. The friend thought she was joking.
Bro, she looks
She'd
like
even
a-
said something similar to her boyfriend.
She was like a female Shane Dawson, bro. Like, bro. Chat, if y'all ever like watch Shane Dawson, like young Shane Dawson, like back when I was a kid, I used to watch him before he was like, weirdo and shit. Well, he's kind of weird when he was younger too. But like, bro, she looks like a female Shane Dawson when he was a jit. It is the weirdest thing ever.
The
It's
friend
so
thought
weird.
she was joking. She'd even said something similar to her boyfriend.
Have you ever felt, do you know what it feels like to kill somebody?
She asked you that? What'd you say?
No.
What else you say?
That was it.
That was it.
We just
He's
started
all the way
watching
weird.
it.
Oh no, he's weird for real. He's hella weird. Nigga's weird. Since then. I don't know why I watched him. I think I watched him because I used to watch Fred when I was a
That
kid.
wasn't on my mind.
And I guess him
You
and
didn't
Fred had
think about
had some type
somebody
of
asking
beef
you
going
know what
on,
it feels
so
like to
that's
kill
probably why I
someone.
followed
You don't
him.
think it's
But-
that's just something you have normal conversation with somebody about. That gets brought up in this normal conversation. That's happened to you a lot.
She fire in the 90s.
Emo, and emos think about that
Probably.
kind of
She's
stuff.
what?
She's emo, so emos think about that kind of stuff.
What's emo?
People who like to cut themselves and stuff like that.
She was mad emo. Oh, this is 2009. What the fuck? This is all the way in 2009? I was like 12 years old when this happened. I was legit 12 years old when all this shit went down, bro. What the fuck? That is crazy to me.
Dark things.
Okay.
I didn't know that she was actually capable of
But then on either Wednesday,
So,
October
ass nigga.
21st, or Thursday,
Some of y'all
October
weren't born
22nd, Alyssa called her friend. Depending on which day it actually was,
Or
it
y'all
was either
probably
the day
born.
she
Y'all
killed
probably
Elizabeth
just like,
or the
you know.
following day. Alyssa told the friend that
Y'all
she
probably
had
barely say 2
done something
words.
really bad. The friend asked her if she knew about the little girl that was missing, and Alyssa told her yes, but asked why she was asking. Alyssa repeated over and over to the
400 years
friend
old.
that it was all supposed to be a game.
Supposed to be
There
a
were
game.
videos on her YouTube channel that involved doing dangerous things like touching a live electric fence around her grandparents' horse paddock.
What the f?
Forced her twin brothers to touch it and edited the video to say right before the boys touched the fence, "This is where it gets good, where my brothers get hurt." Experts say that all of this, along with her other behaviors, indicate that Alyssa had a sadistic need to hurt others and got a lot of pleasure from it, even experiencing experiencing a release of all the painful emotions she held deep inside her. Alyssa didn't just try to hurt others, as she often directed the need to inflict pain on herself. At a young age, Alyssa had started hurting herself. All of this came to a head when at 13, she attempted to take her own life. She fully recovered and spent time in a mental health facility where she was prescribed the antidepressant Prozac. She began to see several counselors during her time at the facility, and once she was released, she underwent intensive outpatient treatment.
There was something
So, while
mentally
she
wrong
ended
with her
up
from
getting
the
help,
beginning, bro.
it didn't really help her. Back in the interrogation room, Sergeant Rice is trying to get Alyssa to empathize, or at the very least sympathize with the Olton family about how they need help recovering Elizabeth's body so they can have closure. While that may be the first priority for the victim's family, it's law enforcement's priority to recover the body so a forensic autopsy can be performed to corroborate the suspect's statements and generate additional evidence for the prosecution. Toby begins to explain to Alyssa that the judicial system treats people who tell the truth differently than those that lie. This is when Alyssa finally drops the story about the body and tells them what she really did to Elizabeth Olton.
Is that 29?
We're gonna have to talk some more about this, obviously.
29? Or was
Right
that
now,
30?
I need to get a larger map.
You all Marvel in the second. Hey, Joshy, what's going on?
Now's the time. Now is the time to just tell the truth. That's all you have to do is tell
Wait,
the truth.
hold up, Josh. Wait, bro. Are we doing anything today? Bro, it's New Year's Eve. Are we doing anything today? What's going on?
Parts of your story that don't make sense. They don't make sense. They don't make sense even to me. Because I am your advocate.
I'm going downtown.
I'm not going to ask them questions.
I think last year we went downtown.
Statements that you're
It was
making
like,
don't make sense.
it was packed.
Evidence that you're lying. And we treat people who can't be honest completely different than we treat people who can be honest. You can be honest. You can tell us what happened. Even if you aren't protecting people you feel obligated to protect, we at least know we can help you. Okay? So he's going to walk out. And like he said, he can't come back and talk. But don't you want to have told him the truth right from the beginning? This is your opportunity. It's your opportunity.
Okay, good. Slit her throat, I strangled her.
Bro.
Strangled her?
Slit her throat and strangled her, bro.
You strangled her with your hands?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a knife on you?
Yes.
Did you cut her throat at any time?
Yes.
Cut her throat
That
afterwards?
shit's crazy to me, bro.
Okay, so you strangled her first.
Y'all made
Until she
AO's
was
command.
unconscious. Yeah.
Yo, that's crazy.
And then you slit her throat.
Mm-hmm.
And did you actually stab her then?
I'm trying to see the verdicts,
Do
bro.
anything else to her?
I see the verdicts.
And then what happened after that?
I'm gonna... Bury your body.
Oh shit.
You buried her?
Yes.
Okay.
Is your body still out there?
I think so.
It's unclear why Alyssa seems so unsure that Elizabeth's body
I
will be
think
in the same
so.
location. The implication by
Why would she
Detective
say I
Rice
think
is that
so
Alyssa
and
may
not
have had
yes?
help, and it's interesting to note how uncertain she is that Elizabeth will still be there.
You didn't burn her, did you?
No.
Yeah, I knew you did. Still out there in the same spot?
I believe so.
Okay.
Finally, the truth. She
Is
strangled
the-
her,
bro.
stabbed her, slit her throat, and then buried the body in the hole she dug on Friday.
Bro.
Interestingly, the specific hole that has been in question the entire interrogation was never used as the gravesite of Elizabeth Olton.
The girl was 9 years old, bro, at the
The
time.
hole that I saw that she
At the time, 3 years younger than me, bro. That's crazy.
I'll be okay.
Mad crazy.
Okay.
She would have been 20. She would have been 21 today, bro.
What was...
She would have been 21 today. R.I.P. bro.
How deep did you dig the grave that she's in?
We got 30. I could have sworn I said something that happens at 30. I forgot what it was.
Will you be able to point out on that?
Oh! I said
where she's at?
I said I played Five Nights at Freddy's at 30. Oh shit. Fuck. Okay. Shit. Oh.
You didn't burn her.
Okay. Well.
Did you bring a shovel with you? How did you dig
I
that
just
hole?
remember to.
Okay.
Okay. When did you dig that hole?
That one was also.
And the AOs, I said the AOs is at 34
So you
or
dug the
35,
hole
35,
up
35, 35.
And
35,
had it already. Did you leave the shovel out there?
No.
Okay. So the hole was already dug on Friday, and then you brought her out there Wednesday. Killed her there on Wednesday, strangled her, then cut her throat, stabbed her twice, put her in the hole, and then how'd you fill the dirt in?
With my hands.
With
Your hands.
There's still something. There's still something.
Toby takes this opportunity to push for any last pieces of information that Alyssa could be concealing.
There's still something you're not telling. I can tell.
Oh, that's it.
Lost parent Twitch page. I swear, I always see like Twitch stuff like recommended. I've seen like
Alyssa had dug 2
Amaranth.
holes that Friday.
That's
The
one
first hole that had been
business.
discussed at
know.
length in the interrogation ended up being the one law enforcement found early on. But Alyssa says that she couldn't dig too deep in that area. So she moved to another area where she could, and that's where they would find 9-year-old
Yeah, she is
Elizabeth
large.
Olden's body. As the
Everyone is
interviewer
large.
has noted,
I
the
think
2
that bad.
holes are interesting, but
I
not
think that
everyone
bad.
buys Alyssa's explanation. There is a theory that Alyssa may have dug 2 holes because she had originally planned to kill her 2 younger brothers.
What?
However, this theory hasn't been corroborated, and so we may never know exactly why Alyssa chose to dig 2 holes. Now that the story is clearly laid out, they've established how the murder was done and where the body is. Sergeant Rice moves on to the motive, the reason Alyssa did it.
Why did you pick her?
I don't know.
You don't know. Yes, you do.
Just did.
Was there something about her? Did you just want to know what it was like to kill someone?
Yeah, I just wanted to know.
Alyssa appears to cry, but her response carries a tone of indifference. Thrill killing. It is the act of killing
bruh.
someone for sheer excitement. Alyssa killed Elizabeth because she wanted to know what it would feel like to kill
know what it
someone.
feels like to kill somebody.
Thrill killing stems from a place of powerlessness.
What the fuck?
These killers are empowered by their murders.
That is
She just-
psychotic as fuck.
Someone nearby, or was it?
Yeah.
She straddles the fence between emotional upset and removedness. She lowers her head, holding her face in her hands. Psychopaths and sociopaths are not incapable of experiencing guilt and remorse, particularly if they have comorbid conditions like borderline personality disorder or bipolar disorder. She could regret killing Elizabeth out of remorse, but she could also regret killing her for a more selfish reason. She knows the repercussions.
Take a break.
Be right back. I want to get some out. Do you need some water? Do you need anything?
Crazy to me.
Oh, God.
I want you to look at me.
She breaks down once Rice leaves to retrieve a larger map. Toby attempts to reassure Alyssa. Again, we see her emotional instability. She struggles to self-regulate.
I see something.
Okay, how often?
Every 5 to 6 weeks, she's in a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bro. She is mentally unstable, bro.
Okay.
Mentally unstable.
Prozac.
Yeah.
Prozac is a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, SSRI, an antidepressant medication primarily used to treat major depressive disorder. If Alyssa has an underlying mood disorder, like bipolar disorder, she might experience increased psychotic symptoms, as disorders like these are sensitive to imbalanced levels of serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that plays a role in modulating mood, sleep, and cognition. Specifically, antidepressants prevent the breakdown of serotonin, which may lead to an overabundance in individual systems. Psychosis looks different from individual to individual, but it can involve increased aggression, hallucinations, delusions, mania, and other psychotic symptoms. Psychosis characterized by paranoid hallucinations, delusions, and aggression may lead to violent behavior.
Damn, bro. I'm telling you, the pills and antidepressants, bro, they can only work so far. They can only work so much, bro. They can only work so much. People are really on that shit. They don't like taking that shit, bro, because they don't feel like themselves. It's crazy as hell, bro. Shit, Pokemon or something. That does sound like a Pokemon move. They are cute.
Not really.
Childhood
I don't
maltreatment
I don't believe in that antidepressant bullshit, to be honest with you. I don't really believe in that, bro. Like, I don't think pills should be the way to, like, fix someone's, like, mentality, bro. It's just medication. Like, it's not really supposed to work that way. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like not just therapy. I mean, she's in therapy, but, like, try to find other ways to, like, try to fix her, bro. I mean, there are other things you could definitely do to try to help someone's depression. Yeah, look up in the juice, bro. Like, the antidepressant shits are not work. It's not it, bro. People like that who take a lot of those things, bro. They can't really become themselves no more, bro. They have to, like, it has to mellow them out. They can't process shit. It's just horrible, bro. Weed. I rather have people smoke weed than to take antidepressants, bro. It
is a strong predictor of suicidal ideation,
the pills,
pathological aggression, and criminality, all of which are present in Alyssa.
Here's someone's dream leader because she's delusional with her fantasies. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, bipolar, antidepressants.
Dissociation is the separation of oneself from one's identity, memories, thoughts, and/or feelings. It's associated with childhood trauma, particularly that of an emotionally abusive or neglectful nature. Dissociation is linked to post-traumatic stress disorder, dissociative disorder, mood disorders, borderline personality disorder, and more.
How old are your brothers? Literally.
What?
How old are your brothers? Literally.
They're 11.
Close to them like you or your sister? Yeah. You like her sister?
She's some Shimmer from Arcane.
Toby is walking Alyssa through the process of grounding. Grounding is a technique often used in therapy in crisis situations that pulls individuals away from flashbacks or disturbing emotions into the present.
It depends. I mean,
she encourages Alyssa to use her breath as an anchor, a sensory tool to call attention to physical rather than emotional sensations.
But I still don't feel like that's the right way to help somebody.
Killing yourself right now.
It doesn't feel natural, dude. I don't know why. The mind's like a natural thing. Everybody has a mind.
Don't have any
trying to use like drugs and other types of little things to like fix your mind. That's not how.
What we're gonna do right now is kind of get some things lined up.
The mind heals itself like through other things.
Go out there and have you point out
through experiences and shit. You know what I mean?
That side where she's at.
That's what I see.
You be able to do that?
Weiss. Crack? No, not crack. I'm talking about through like emotional healing, bro. You know what I mean? Emotional stipulation. Like there are ways to just fix that. It's not easy for sure. It's not easy. But you gotta find something
Once
that
alone, Alyssa almost...
I feel like to fix depression in some way, or at least a step in fixing depression, is to find something that that you truly are passionate about. Like find something that you're passionate about. set goals for yourself and go along with it, bro. You know what I mean? That's the best way I could probably tell you how to work on it, bro. I've never been depressed, so I don't really know how it feels, but I don't know, bro. I know it's easier said than done for real, but I mean, yeah, everybody is definitely different. If they ask if you want to be on the pill over therapy, so you recommend being on pills yourself. Not for all people. Like I think you would tell you it's simple. Just put your life on my force. I see. I mean, yeah, some people don't. Some people rather not just take the pills and go to therapy. Yeah, I feel like pills shouldn't be the main thing either, bro. I don't know.
Most immediately regulates her breathing. Her head hangs low.
The reality is, though, your grandmother loves you, and love doesn't stop. Okay? I don't want you to think nobody loves you. Your grandparents love you.
Love is unconditional.
Absolutely.
She loves you unconditionally. Now, she's not going to understand why this happened. And there are going to be some, you guys have, I have to sugarcoat this. You guys have some rough times ahead of you. But she's not going to stop loving you. And when you came back home, what did you do with that knife?
They didn't find any anxiety traits, but the thing is, I
Did you
internalized
clean
everything.
it?
Me
Describe
personally,
the
look, I don't really bottle up my emotions. I mean, look, I bottle up my emotions, but I don't at the same time. Like, I don't express my emotions to, like, a lot of people. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, if I laugh, but I'm always expressing happiness, but never, like, sadness. Rarely do I ever express anger, like, outside of, like, obviously streaming, but rarely do I ever express anger. Usually whenever I do express it, I like to be alone. I like to just let it all out, like, just when I'm alone, bro. Like in a room by myself. Sometimes I just talk, I just think aloud, or in the car. Sometimes I just like think aloud. Like it's just I just do that, just kind of like to release all those bottled up emotions. Because if I don't talk about them, then it's just gonna be on my thoughts the whole entire time. It can't be like that all the time. What's good? What's going on? Interested? How you doing, bro? Yeah. It can't be like that all the time for me.
Is it just straight edge? Does it have those serrations in it? Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's just straight edge.
Straight edge. Okay.
I'm gonna get in trouble though.
Because Alyssa's a juvenile, Sergeant Rice explains what's going to happen next in the investigation, how they must speak to everyone that could be involved to get to the truth, especially since Alyssa lied at the beginning of the interrogation. Alyssa is then prepped to go out with Sergeant Rice. They're going back to the woods so that she can recount the crime and show them where she buried Elizabeth. Here's the audio from that excursion.
It is date's October 23rd, 2009, 2 o'clock. Sergeant David Rice with Missouri State Highway Patrol, and it is
Michael Cootie stream? Nah, it's not.
Cole County Juvenile Office.
So our stream
and,
is not.
We're
not
here.
I'm gonna let y'all know when I have
County,
time to do it because
at the site where you say
I got work tomorrow in the next 5 days.
Can you walk me through? I want you to walk me through step by step.
I'm gonna be a little busy, but whenever I have like
when you got up here,
a time frame or like
occurred.
actual space to do it, then I'll let y'all know. Yeah.
Here, before everything just happened. I'm gonna drag her into the hole.
Okay.
Like the 4 people in here? Jesus.
I strangled her.
Okay.
And then cut her throat and stabbed her.
Okay. When you strangled her, was she facing you?
Yeah.
Okay, so she was facing you, looking towards you.
Mm-hmm.
You strangled her. One hand? Two hands?
Oh my god.
Okay. And what happened? Did she stand up, fall to the ground? What happened?
She'd fallen to the ground.
Okay. Was she moving at that point?
No.
What the fuck?
Okay. So she was lying on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Was she face down on her back?
She was on her back.
Okay.
What the fuck?
And where was, you said earlier you had a knife. Where was your knife at that point?
I put it back in my pocket. Well, like, not pocket, but like, I held it.
Here, Alyssa doesn't even remember where she placed her knife during the attack. It's unclear if she's even telling the truth still at this point, since every detail seems so muddled.
Which pocket was it in? Front,
It was like in
back,
my waist, below waistband.
in your waist?
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
right there.
Okay. And that was the knife that you told me about with the black handle that you told me earlier. Okay. And what did you do with the knife?
I put it in the sink.
No. When you were here, once you said
Definitely
she
use
was
it.
on
Yeah,
the ground,
bro.
not moving, you said. After that point, what did you
I
do?
watch these videos a lot because it has me thinking, bro. For real.
You cut her throat and stabbed her. Where did you stab her?
In her chest area.
In her chest area?
Yeah.
In the front or in the back?
Front.
In the front. Okay. How many times?
Twice, I believe.
Alyssa's story still doesn't add up.
She's still capping.
Although continually claiming she stabbed Elizabeth twice, the autopsy report revealed she was stabbed a total of 8 times in the chest.
Oh my
Twice.
god.
Okay. And then
8
what happened
times
after
in the
that?
chest, bro.
Dragged her.
I'm 9-year-old, by the way.
Dragged her into this hole over here.
Before that, he went to bed early.
And when did you dig that hole?
Friday.
Okay. How did you cover her up? Did you have a shovel or something here?
I just used my hands.
Used your hands? Okay. And this is the hole over here. She's under. How deep is that hole?
It's not very deep.
Crazy. That's wild, bro.
All right. Okay, and I think we've talked about everything else back at the office. I just wanted to go over. Is there anything else? This all happened right about here. Are you pretty sure of that?
Nair, you think it's all the, or Nair.
Okay. Did you leave anything out here that you can think of?
I think she dropped a piece of gum somewhere.
You did?
She did.
She dropped a piece of gum. Where do you think that was at?
How would you even find that?
I'm sure it's probably under some leaves now, but
What happened to her phone?
I'm pretty sure it was in her pocket the entire time.
In her pocket?
Yes.
So do you think her phone is in her pocket in that hole?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever hear it go off?
No.
Alyssa claims she never heard Elizabeth's phone ring, contradicting Elizabeth's mother, who claimed she called her phone over and over again.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shut the tape off then.
She used her hands to cover Elizabeth's body with leaves, dirt, and twigs. Once the body was recovered and autopsied, Elizabeth Holton was laid to rest on Wednesday, October 28, 2009. She was buried in a pink coffin and carried to the cemetery by a horse-drawn carriage. Mourners wore pink and released...
It must be so... Bro, it must be so fucking difficult to have to bury your own flesh, like your own seed, bro. Like your own flesh and blood, bro. It must be so depressing, bro. Oh my god. Like I can never imagine like being a father and having to do that, or a mother. Like I can't imagine a mother having to do that, bro. Nah, bro, that's just sad as fuck, bro. I can't imagine anybody having to do that.
These balloons.
To bury their own
Elizabeth's
kids,
aunt
bro.
described her as the morning sun that pops out over the mountain. She was sunshine, and you couldn't help but love her. In the end, it seems some details just don't add up, and it's clear that investigators believed Alyssa had some sort of help. And along with all the inconsistencies, Dustin's explanation behind how he discovered Alyssa killed Elizabeth was strange, to say the least. On Thursday, October 22nd, the day after Elizabeth's murder, Dustin stayed home sick and claimed Alyssa skipped school to spend the day with him at his residence. His mother unexpectedly arrived home at approximately 12:30 or 1 p.m. He ushered Alyssa into a closet to hide, giving her clothes to change into for unknown reasons, and continued to check on her repeatedly.
Blank said on Thursday, October 22nd, 2009, at approximately 8 a.m., Blank came over to his apartment. He told his mom he was sick that day, went to work. He said he hung out only. had blank. Blank said his mother went to the closet. Basically, the black blank is the girlfriend, I believe. Anyways, never mind. My mother was there. Blank said that he was close to changing chicken every sometimes. Closet. Mother's getting shower. He went to check on her. Told him she killed a little girl. He told him she strangled her, killed the girl. Asked her what she did next. She said he did not know what to do. He said all I could think about was getting at the house. So they told her she had to leave. Told her to go from time. I was showered and I know.
While she was hiding.
Okay.
While Dustin's mother was getting into the shower, he claimed Alyssa suddenly confessed that she strangled, cut, and killed the girl. He then claimed he told her she had to leave, guiding her to out the front door while his mother was in the shower. This was his last alleged communication with Alyssa.
And the day after this happened, you skip school and you're smoking pot with, right? Did you tell him about this?
No.
Why not? And you guys are you're close. Didn't you feel like you needed to tell somebody?
No, that's not really the kind of thing that you tell people.
Investigators also picked up on what they believed was a slip-up at the beginning of his interrogation.
All that I know is what the FBI told me.
What did they tell you?
They told me that she buried him and then slit her throat and stabbed her. She already had a dug hole. And then buried her. She wasn't big enough, so then they buried her again.
They buried her again?
I mean,
what?
So then they buried her again.
So they buried her again. Oh, shit. Yo, GG. This nigga fucked up.
They buried her again?
I
mean... This nigga fucked up. What's good, Brycey? How you doing? Hey, Frontier. What's good?
I mean...
That's tough.
Who's they?
That's tough. That's tough.
You're not in trouble here, okay? You're not in a lot of trouble here.
Who's they?
I didn't mean they.
You're not in a lot of trouble here, bud.
Nah, nigga, you
just
they.
what I've been saying for the past
that sounds crazy.
Because I just couldn't see.
Shout out to everybody here on real though, bro.
But obviously, you just told me that there was another person involved, and I can believe that.
No, you told me that.
Alyssa was charged with first-degree murder. Yet even though she had confessed and even led law enforcement to the very site where she killed and buried Elizabeth, she entered a not guilty plea.
Really? So even after doing all that, she still pled not guilty? She's an idiot. She is actually an idiot. This is actually insane. I can't believe I'm actually reading this.
As an adult on November 18th, 2009. Guilty plea.
Again?
She was certified as an adult on November 18th.
Let's go. She got tried as an adult too? Let's go.
2009, due to the adult nature of her crime.
Let's go.
The Cole County Circuit Judge assigned to the trial ruled that her crime was vicious and that the Missouri State juvenile facilities were unequipped to deal with someone who could commit such a crime.
Let's go. W.
For over a year, Alyssa stuck to her plea of not guilty. The day before her trial, January 9th, 2012, she withdrew her not guilty plea and agreed to plead guilty to the lesser charge of second-degree murder.
What?
Since she took the plea deal that had been presented to her, she waived her right to a jury trial, but as a condition of the deal, she needed to get up in front of the courtroom and tell the events of that fateful day. The courtroom was filled with both her family and Elizabeth's family, along with most of the St. Martin's community. Alyssa told the court what she'd done, speaking in a clear, emotionless voice. She'd strangled Elizabeth with her hands and used the kitchen knife for the rest of the attack. Nearly everyone in the courtroom already knew the details of the murder since it was well publicized in the media. However, this was the first time hearing it straight from the murderer herself. Elizabeth's mother, Patty, sobbed while Alyssa retold her daughter's murder. There were several reasons that the courts probably reduced the charges. At the time, it was a gray area whether it was legal to sentence a teenager to life without parole. The United States Supreme Court was getting ready to hear another case about 2 teenage murderers, and they needed to decide if life without parole was cruel and unusual punishment for people so young. The defense said that Alyssa was diagnosed with major depression, anxiety disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder from her difficult upbringing, borderline personality disorder.
Despite her mental diseases and shit, look here, bro. I don't think there's anything in this world that could, like, where you could forgive someone that would literally premeditate murdering a 9-year-old, strangling her, slitting her throat, stabbing her in the chest 8 times, burying the body, then proceeding to write and brag about how she murdered her in her diary. There's nothing you can do to this, you know what I mean? Everyone deserves a second chance. Well, everyone is not her. Alright. Everyone is not her. It's good, Tyrese.
And showed early signs of bipolar disorder. And, more importantly, that all of these diagnoses were the reasons behind her killing of Elizabeth Olten.
I mean, there are a lot of niggas who have mental disorders and shit. They ain't out here murdering people.
Case documents reveal a police interview with a mental health professional who had worked with Alyssa for 2 years. They shared that during an annual assessment of Alyssa, only 1 month before the interview and Elizabeth's disappearance, the mental health professional had become concerned that her depression was spiraling and her delinquent behavior was increasing. Alyssa had actually called this mental health professional soon after Elizabeth went missing. During the call, Alyssa said she was distressed about the police being in her house and searching for clues about what happened to Elizabeth. One of the most interesting pieces from the case document is that the mental health professional initially said they had no concern about Alyssa being involved in the little girl's disappearance, because in their experience, Alyssa never expressed a desire to harm anyone else but herself.
Like, that's what you told me. Like, the idea of everyone deserves a second chance, that can only go so far, bro. Like, I think if someone is out here, sexually assaulting women and blatantly enjoying that shit, they don't deserve no second chances. They deserve the worst thing they can possibly get. Same thing with pedophiles. All of them, they deserve the worst thing they could possibly get, bro. They don't deserve no second chance. The fuck? You want to give them a second chance for that? Hell no, nigga. You can't fix that. You cannot fix that, bro. You can't fix that. They are f***ed in the head.
Another doctor even agreed with the same belief. However, they also conceded that they could be wrong.
Taste test stream.
This interview took place 2 days after Alyssa killed Elizabeth.
I basically go
Alyssa's
to
defense tried to prove she didn't know that murdering someone
different restaurants or whatever, like different fast restaurants.
In contrast to this, the mental health professional was asked during the police interview
and I just
I
compare it.
Understood the difference between
all those,
right and wrong.
Certain items on stream, basically.
To which they replied,
so
absolutely.
Like that.
Her defense also pointed out that Alyssa's dose of Prozac was increased only a short time before she killed Elizabeth.
A grown-ass man murders a child in cold blood, like intentionally wanted to kill that child. Do they deserve a second chance? No.
They claim that this increase may have played a role in making her behavior unpredictable.
Definitely not.
And even could have made her more prone to violence. One question that everyone comes back to is why Alyssa had done it. Her grandfather said that the night Alyssa killed Elizabeth, she seemed to be in an unusually good mood. Her mood, along with her journal entry, show that Alyssa was likely a thrill killer. Thrill killers receive a rush of euphoric adrenaline from the act of killing their victims, which would explain why Alyssa was so happy after the gruesome murder. On February 8, 2012, Alyssa addressed the court and apologized, saying, "I really am extremely sorry for everything. I know words can never be enough to describe how horribly I feel for all of this. If I could give my life to get her back, I would. I'm sorry." Alyssa was sentenced to life in prison. But this story doesn't end there.
What?
Due to the publicized nature of the crime and the lead up to the trial, Alyssa became something of an underground celebrity. There's an online fan club and Facebook groups in support of Alyssa, some displaying artwork of her and even profiles using her picture, pretending to be her.
No.
Alyssa would have been eligible for parole for the first time in 2044, but since the Senate Bill 26 passed, Someone convicted as a minor can ask for parole after 15 years. This means there is a chance Alyssa could be up for parole as early as 2027.
Wow. That is fucking crazy. I can't believe all the things I just heard in all of a matter of like 40 seconds. So she's over here. So she's okay. She's legit out here. Like, I don't know. People are out here making fan clubs for her and shit, supporting her. Or like, what the? Hey, bro. You know what they say, bro. You know what they say. The crazier they are, well, I don't know. There's no saying for that. I don't know what I'm talking about. All I know is that, crazy people stick together. That's all I gotta say, as far as I know.